This storm will kill you.
Look! I'm telling you! You know what I mean,
But if
folks?
rich people aren't looking out for us, who is?
It makes no difference which one of us you vote for. Either way, your planet is doomed.
You're listening to the Our Take Podcast with Brian Sherman.
He had a full head, all the way till the end. It was white, and I was hoping to get that. I was hoping to get, like, the full head, and it was really hard to cut it off.
And Spencer Rogers.
To be a good pilot, you have to be able to make good decisions. And I know what my credit score is, so I know I don't make good decisions.
This is the Our Take Podcast.
From Scary Parrot Media Studios in Ogden, Utah. Turn the volume back up. It's the Our Take Podcast. I'm Brian.
That wasn't actually the volume. It was the speaker volume. So no one noticed anything but you.
Just me. Okay.
So way to go. Way to
Well,
pull back the curtain.
What is your name?
Spencer.
You're messing with my volume again.
Damn it.
Stop, man.
I thought it was mine.
Hey, Jake, what's up, man?
Hey, how you guys doing?
You're messing with mine now again.
I don't know. How is that?
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'll fix it in a minute. Jake, we got to get you a robe or something because I think this is at least your fifth time on the show.
I think 4.
4?
I think 4.
Okay, well, you get a robe next
Can
time.
we? Oh,
There's robes
there's
on Printful.
robes on Printful.
All right, let's do
They're
it.
kind of skimpy and meant for women, but
Dude, I'm down with that.
Five-timer robe.
I'm down.
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually. It is June the 12th. I didn't look up anything for his day in history, so stand by.
oh, I'll just riff for a minute.
Vamp. Can you vamp?
Vamp it. You can't vamp with a big
I'm
mouthful
thirsty.
of water.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm really thirsty. It's the diabetes.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Or I don't know. It
How's
could
that
just
going
be
for
like
you?
lack of water.
Oh, jeez.
It hasn't been that bad during the week. It's the weekends where I start to get a little I don't know. It's just every time I diet, I have that mentality where I'm like, it's the weekend, baby. It's time to get some pizza and Oreos.
In our household, diabetes is a little bit like COVID. We feel like everybody's getting it but us, and we're just going like, eventually we should probably take care of things so that we don't get it too.
Get that vaccine. On this day in history, Ronald Reagan challenges Mikhail Gorbachev to tear down this wall.
That happened today.
Tear down this wall.
Jake is a history major.
That
Year?
doesn't mean anything.
Year?
Oh, jeez, dude. I'm not even going to give it
86?
87.
Is it?
87.
I was going to say
Pretty
mid-80s.
close.
Didn't it?
I'm terrible
But didn't
with
the wall
dates,
come
dude.
down in I thought it was 91?
Things take
I
take
can't remember.
time.
Some time. Yeah.
What else? The world's largest twin jet takes off on its maiden flight. The Boeing. Spencer?
Wait, twin jet?
Largest twin jet.
It should be.
Boeing?
It should be the. What year is this?
I'm not telling you. The world's
Well, it
largest
should
twin
be-
jet
It
takes
should
off.
be the 777.
It is the 777.
Okay.
Man.
1994 transports up to 451 passengers.
Okay, now that makes sense. I was just thinking because there was a jet before then that was the biggest twin engine, the
Right.
767.
I'm assuming
so-
that this how this is written that it is still the biggest.
Yeah, it is.
451's the max.
Yeah, in fact, no, that one we saw flying is actually the newest variant, the one that was at Hill.
Oh yeah.
That's the 777X.
The one I texted you about that was just doing loops.
Yeah, they were doing some kind of training, or not training, testing.
Yeah.
Because they went straight back to Seattle. They just came straight from Seattle to here and went back.
That
But
music
that's-
just really cuts off,
It
doesn't
just
it?
shut down.
Yeah, I
didn't it?
know. It doesn't normally do that, right? Maybe I turn it lower.
I think usually
I
you
feel like
usually
we're-
you fade it out.
We're all
usually
over the
fade it.
place, man. Anyway,
I've come in and jacked this whole thing up.
No,
This
no,
is my
no.
fault.
Told you I
blame
was
myself.
forgetting
It's
something.
just karma because I was giving Spencer so much shit for not being ready,
Yeah, you were.
and I didn't have this day in history ready. I
Yeah,
have all
well.
my other all my other links open,
just not the history.
not the history, which is a staple of the show for
Yeah.
I think since episode 2.
Really?
I think so.
I think you're right. It's been around for a while. Uh-oh.
It's red alert. We're hosed, man.
Well,
it's not
and,
good.
And I gotta say, you do it more than anybody else. You'd be like, Jake's a history major. Like, pause. I haven't taken a history class in like 12 years.
But
should
you-
still know things
but just generally-
about history.
Generally, you're more versed in history. You know what I mean?
I would say probably more than the average person,
Yeah.
but it's really funny because actually they change the way that they teach it. It's names and dates are fairly irrelevant. It's the big picture ideas that they
Makes sense.
usually start to teach you in
They're not going
college.
to teach you trivia.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah. I was never really quizzed on names and dates. I never had to like flashcard that crap.
That's fair. That
Yeah.
makes sense. I mean, to be honest, the only reason it was salient was because you were telling Spencer about some Utah history.
I was telling them
when
about
I
some
walked
Utah
in.
history.
So
Would you say that it's also balanced, fair and balanced? That's not their slogan.
it's not their thing
is it?
anymore.
well, because they're not.
They never were. Yeah, they owned it.
They can't even act like it anymore. Really.
How about we just call them they? Can we never refer to that channel by name again?
Did you see
Just-
that? Did
as long
you
as
see
CNN is
that?
It's they and them.
Did you see that Disney it's not 20th Century Fox anymore? It's just 20th century everything. It's
Don't
just
want to be
20th
closely
century
related.
television, 20th
Are
century
they even
movies.
related?
Yeah, Disney bought 20th century.
Well, no. Fox. Is the Fox part of that related at all?
The Fox network?
Yeah.
No.
Is,
So
is
Rupert,
them news?
Rupert Murdoch retained Fox News and the Fox network, but not the programming on the network. It's very weird. It's very confusing.
So initially, 20th Century Fox and Fox News, whenever they were created in their infancy, they were the same.
Yeah, they were all Rupert Murdoch's companies, and he
Interesting.
sold all the assets and the series and stuff, and that's why we have.
They should change it to 21st.
That's why we have Professor X in. Spoiler alert for
in Top Gun.
in Top Gun. Professor X shows up. Did I tell you guys? Was that on the last episode that I told you that did we talk about Doctor Strange?
No,
Or
we
is that
didn't. We
just
talked
in
about Top
person?
Gun. You went and saw Doctor Strange because before you would never go to movies.
Yeah, I actually.
And
so
now you're
it's
going to
kind of
movies
been
by
my
yourself.
thing for the last few weekends. I've been going to movies by myself, just mostly for the popcorn. And I didn't go this weekend because Jurassic World just looks so stupid, and the reviews are so bad. And
What reviews?
all
Consumer
of-
reviews
all
or
of
critic
them.
reviews?
It's bad.
In-
I have not
yeah.
heard a good thing about this movie.
Were the other two rated good?
What?
The other
Oh
two
yeah,
that they
yeah, for sure. Doctor Strange was cool, and if it would have ended with John Krasinski and Professor X, and
That would have been
then,
rad.
then I would have just been like, yeah, that's good. This movie can be done.
I have a hard time keeping the whole universe straight. Like, I don't know.
Disney has it now. When you go to the Marvel section on the Disney Plus, they're all in order, including like the little
like chronologically.
but not
Or like by the story. Is
by the
told.
story
Because
chronologically.
there is
Yeah.
a difference.
By
Because
chrono-
Not the year they came out.
if you start it chronologically, you have to start with Captain America.
Correct.
Right.
Then you have to go all the way to Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Right, because nothing happened in the world between
Right.
those two.
Because he was just sitting in the ocean
Right,
in that spy plane.
and they even have like the little shield shorts in
Yeah.
between, like where they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
That just feels like a whole lot of time that I don't have
It is
to
well,
catch up.
And speaking of that, so I've been listening to the Expanse series.
Oh, that's right.
Wow.
I'm on book 8. I'm on the last book
When are you going to start watching the show?
when I finish the book.
Ugh.
But then I went to download the last book on Audible, and I noticed there's all these novellas
Well,
that are meant to go in between. I'm like, what?
like, well-
And it turns out that James S.A. Corey, the guy, quote unquote, that wrote The Expanse, is actually two guys. That's their pen name. That cool?
that's pretty cool.
Like we could all three of us could write a book together and just make it like,
John Schwartz?
sure.
Is that
yeah.
a guy? Is that a real guy? Sounds like a real guy.
That's a pretty generic. Yeah,
I, don't know,
I
I
think
just like the last name Schwartz.
Steven Spiel.
Spiel.
So this weekend, instead of going to the movies, I had DoorDash deliver Megaplex popcorn, and I watched Adam Sandler's new
You for real?
basketball movie.
I watched that this morning.
It was pretty good.
Oliver is kind of sick, so I got up with him and we watched. He slept on me while I watched Hustle.
Yeah.
It's actually really
Is it good? I
It was
really want
pretty
to watch
good.
it.
It was fun.
Yeah.
All the cameos are fantastic.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I'm like, you and I could not be more opposite with the DoorDash thing. And my wife, Amanda, is like super into it lately. Because we've got a little one, right? We're about the same age as your son.
Yep.
You just become pretty like homebound for a little while when you got a little kid and stuff. And
Right.
she's like, oh, it's just DoorDash dinner. I'm like, no, I'll go pick it up. She's like, no, but it's so much easier. Like, it's so much more expensive. Though. So the fact that you DoorDash popcorn blows my mind.
I'm with you.
blows my mind.
I have a hard time
It's not that much
justifying
more
it.
expensive.
You
When
have
you
talked
have-
about on this
when you have
podcast how
Dash-
expensive
when
it
you
is.
have
true.
Dash Pass, it's more reasonable.
But you're paying for the Dash Pass.
Justify.
it's $10 a month.
Yep. And I will spend less than, well, maybe less than that in gas going and getting it myself.
Yeah, good
Used
luck
to
with
be
the
that
gas
way.
prices.
Used to be that way.
It's $10 a month coming from the guy who I have to share my YouTube Plus subscription
You
with,
have to
so
do-
he
you
doesn't
just
get
gave it
ads.
to me.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
gave it to me.
Now that's, by the way, that's coming
Well,
from
it's because he keeps playing YouTube clips and the ads keep playing at the beginning of them in the show.
Yeah, yeah.
So I said, you know what? Ashley and I pay for the YouTube.
And as a
whatever it is.
result, I get his Google Calendar alerts.
I demand $5 be paid over once a month.
Which
for
I
this.
don't understand.
I share
only
all
get
my
like a
logins.
quarter of his Google Calendar alerts.
Well, it's because I don't put everything on Google.
The other day I was like,
I put stuff on there to trick you.
I didn't know I had this appointment today, and so I went over there and showed up, and they're like, "No, it's not you. It's
Not you. Are you for
Oh,
real?
no."
Okay, I was like, you had me for a second. I was like, wow.
It was just. I met a new therapist, and it just said therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he knew I was going.
All right.
Yeah, because you the other day I was like, "How are you doing?" He's like, "I went to see a new therapist." Oh yeah,
You're like,
I
oh,
saw
knew that.
You were gonna call me. You were gonna call me to go to a movie,
Yeah.
but you saw I was in therapy.
how was it?
Yeah.
You know, there is something to be said about that. Like, if everybody had like a shared calendar,
at
how much
work.
easier would life be? Like with
Yeah.
friends.
I had a job once where everybody in the company you could see.
Yeah.
Now it didn't show what they were doing.
Sure.
But it showed if they were busy.
busy.
Right.
You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
People just put random stuff. In fact, this woman was screen sharing once because she was
Oh.
presenting, and a notification popped up that said "take a break." So she has, which is, you know what, good for her.
Yeah.
People have to take a break.
Smoke a bowl.
Keep it vague.
There's an error. Yeah. Get a drink.
Oh, speaking of smoking a bowl,
Uber.
yeah. So there's a couple things that make me think this world is simulation. One of them is that no matter what happens, I always seem to have enough money every week or every month. You know, like
That's because
I never make enough to save because I'm bad with money, but I always find some way. So
Well, you don't get paid.
well,
what
fine.
you're worth.
I don't.
Like, not by a long shot.
But so I opened up the Uber Drive app because I haven't had any like freelance work this month. I'm like, oh, I got to make some money, and they're like, do 3 rides if you come back. Do 3 rides and get $200. I'm like, no way. So I go do 3 rides and they give me $200.
Really?
They're just that in need.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
So I've made $400 in 2 days.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm
Very good.
about to start
Yeah.
a new
Yeah.
gig.
Yeah.
Well, if you need some freelance
But-
graphic design work, you could hop over to scaryparrotmedia.com and hire Spencer. He's
yeah.
really good.
Yeah. I mean, well,
He is
I mean,
good.
He's designed a logo for this show, for our band, for my business, and for Jake
And
and,
for-
his wife's business.
Correct.
true.
Correct.
That is all fact.
And,
And
the
we-
shirt you're wearing.
Oh,
We
yeah.
get mega compliments on ours all the time.
Good.
On our design.
Until they put it on the van and ruined it with drop shadows.
We haven't talked about your frustration with that.
Oh, I don't think I was with Brian when I was. You were in the van.
Oh,
It was when
okay.
you were having your open house, and I was like,
No, I saw it
put-
and I said, "Did you do
they
that?"
put drop shadows all over my logo.
Because that's what I was going to ask. I was looking at him like, "Why the hell did you put drop shadows in their logo?"
Look-
and you're like, "I didn't."
No, there are drop shadows are fine. I use them. I use them a little more sparingly than they did.
It's like putting a
But-
gradient. You just got to
No,
be careful.
And that was my other problem is they use gradients, and I don't like to mix. I use gradients. I have no problems with them, but I don't like to mix gradients and non-gradients. And I did their logo without gradients, and then they decided to throw gradients.
so you believe in
in the
like
background
you
stuff.
believe in like a universal source of light
I don't
on
know.
your logos.
No, I'll use shading. I'll use shading, but not gradient shading.
right.
It's crazy that you say this because Amanda and I have no idea what you're talking about. I didn't catch on to any of this. We have no clue. The average person has no idea
I know,
that
it's
what you're
fine.
talking about.
It doesn't matter. Anyone who looks at it, it's like, oh, that looks good. But I'm like, you stupid mother.
We paid a lot of money for that wrap.
Oh, I know.
too.
I know. Wraps are expensive.
Did
but
you?
listen,
Did they send you like a proof back?
Yeah.
Like you sent them Spencer's
Couple
design
times.
and they sent you. Okay.
Yeah, a couple times.
I just want to tell you about my Uber trip this morning. That's why I brought up
Oh,
Uber.
yeah. We're like on 3 different paths.
Yeah, I know. So I got up this morning because I don't know why. I have no idea why, but I've been like an old person the past month, going to bed at like 9:30 and waking up at 5:30.
It's the best.
I don't know what's happening. I don't love it, but it is what it is. So
You went off your meds.
no, because it's been like 3 or 4 months since I've done that. Anyway, unless it's the diabetes medicine, I don't know. It
You
shouldn't
went
be,
on your
right?
meds.
Waking up to pee at 5:30
Yeah.
and now
That'll
he's
do
stuck.
it.
He's like,
That'll do it.
thick
Yeah.
prostate.
That's happened. Anyway, so I get up. I actually go out at like 6 today or 6:30. And I'm like, I'm just because I did the same thing yesterday and made $70 in like an hour. I'm like,
crazy.
maybe I'll. It was like probably 2.
Still,
That's probably
So $35 an
still
hour.
crazy.
Yeah, so I was like, maybe I'll have another gangbuster morning today. And so I get up and I turn on Uber, and my first route is actually a lady I picked up around the same time yesterday to take her to the same place. And then I'm like, I don't have no intentions of going anywhere far, but my next trip, and it doesn't tell you, and if you've ever driven Uber, it doesn't tell you.
Right.
Salt Lake International Airport. I'm like,
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be like a $35 trip, so whatever. And I wish I could have picked it up tomorrow because it would have got me to work right on time. But anyway, so I go to the airport and I'm like, all right, should I go home or should I see what happens in Salt Lake for a minute? So I leave it on. Next trip, Park City.
Yeah, I wish it would tell you, like,
And then
I mean, I've only driven for Uber, like, and it's been a couple years. But I had when I was
you want to make $200?
no, but I was down in
We can both make $200.
okay. I was down in Salt Lake and I wanted to make my way back,
Yeah, it's
and I picked someone up in Farmington,
yeah.
and sure enough, they were going back to Salt Lake.
Right.
That would be the worst.
Luckily, I got
It's like
I
ride
had to
canceled.
go.
You're being a jerk.
I had
So
to go
it's
up to Deer Valley, and then I made it back to the airport, and then I drove home. But so I did. I made $120 though this morning with 4 trips. So not bad.
It doesn't tell you where they want to go. It just tells you where the pickup is.
When you
Right.
oh, not until you accept the trip.
Oh, that's
No, it doesn't even
lame.
tell you then. It doesn't
That's
tell you
lame.
till you start the trip.
Start the trip.
That's lame.
It'll tell you, hey, this person's 10 minutes away. Like, okay.
Their destination is 4
Sure.
hours away.
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
doesn't mind. You're gonna need to go to Idaho.
Right.
It's because they
Buy
know
a
a lot of
lottery
people
ticket
will
and come
probably
back.
pass a lot
Hell
more
yeah,
if they
they
know
would.
exactly what the destination is.
You should
Right.
start getting like bus schedules and handing them out to riders. I hope you enjoyed your ride. Here's a bus schedule.
Oh, anyway.
Well, we were talking about your shirt because you're wearing a
Oh,
Sun
yeah,
Air
yeah,
shirt.
yeah.
What do we want to? Yeah.
Well, I wanted to bring this up because I've been designing a little bit.
Oh.
You've encouraged me to get Illustrator.
You have Illustrator?
I got it on my iPad
Oh,
and with
okay.
a pen.
yeah,
And, you know, it's
I've
kind of
got
fun
that.
to design.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And I thought about we've had some funny experiences lately, me and you, Jake, when
Mm-hmm.
we're like at dinner and for some reason it's always Ethan who says a colloquial phrase wrong.
Yeah.
So we had a big meal
Oh,
and Ethan said, "Oh man, my stomach was bigger than my face." And so that was just an example.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be your eyes were bigger than your stomach.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then we came up with some. I was like bowl and vagina shop,
Yeah. We just started making up a
I'm
bunch
sorry.
of bull.
Bull in a what shop?
like bowl in a china, but you make it gina. Like I
Gina shop.
purposely mess them up.
Yeah.
What was the one Ethan said the other night though?
I'm trying to think of it. It was.
Was I not
amazing.
invited to this dinner?
No, you weren't.
Okay.
Yeah, that's about as blunt of an answer as you could get. No. I don't remember. I'm honestly not going to be able
So
to. come up
anyway,
with
I
that.
want to, with your help, of course, I want to start
Well,
doing some
yeah, I
t-shirts.
would be glad to if I would have been invited to this powwow, but
It wasn't a powwow.
uh-huh.
That was the inception of the idea was because Ethan messed it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I was like, that would be funny.
It
on
would
like
be funny.
a
This would be
sticker
really funny
or
shirts
something, or on a
stickers
shirt.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Bull in a
That's good
wh-
stuff.
What is the Gina shop? How would you
So-
like me to illustrate that?
Well,
I'll let you
with
choose.
obviously with labia
Oh,
Okay. That's what I'm
that's the front
picturing.
door.
as the door. Yeah, the door to the Gina shop. People are gonna read it though, and they're gonna be like, Gina,
Gina
Yeah,
shop.
that's true.
bowl in a Gina shop.
a
Well, we
Gina
could
shop?
put Gina's in there. Do we know Gina? Is there any famous Gina Garoppolo or something like just?
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Bull in a Gina.
Put a famous Gina.
Oh, that's gonna bug me really bad.
The
about
one
what
that
he
Ethan said?
Yes, it was
I know.
amazing.
We should text him or something.
Yeah,
Anyway.
Maybe I would have remembered it, but
but you weren't invited. Now I don't even remember what the reason was we got together.
You wouldn't have had fun. It's all our kids.
It was all the kids. Yeah.
I love kids.
More often than not, we get together to let the kids run like crazy
You-
and get energy
you
out.
are nice to my kids,
Yeah.
but you do not like kids. Anytime something goes remotely inconvenient or wrong, you say kids ruin everything, even if the kids aren't involved.
But that's not
But
wrong,
kids
though. I
do
agree
ruin
with that.
everything. Literally, your life is fine, and then the kids come along, and everything is ruined, and your life becomes the kid's life.
I
I challenge you to.
I have sought mental health help for almost my whole life. So arguably what you're saying is no, not everything was fine at any time. They didn't fix it, but it was not fine before.
But did they make it better or worse?
They make it better. Jake?
I would say as a net, it's a gain.
Yeah.
Yes. But like, what I usually will say is like before kids, and this is an original idea. I stole it from somebody, but it's perfectly said. Before kids, if like your max amount of happiness is like a level 100 and your max amount of anger is like a negative 100, that with kids, your max amount of happiness is like a plus 1,000. But your max amount of anger is like negative 1,000.
It exacerbates
Like,
the situation.
Everything is way more excessive. But as a net, it's without question, it's a gain.
And we're doing our part to perpetuate the race.
Oh yeah, because the race, like
I am replacing
the white,
myself.
The white race.
I was like, hold on, let's talk about what we're talking about.
Did you
race
mean
here.
the race or the species?
Species, probably.
The human
There's
race.
not
The
enough
human
white
race.
people.
What are you talking about? We don't refer to us as the human species. We're the human race.
That's fair.
But I
That's fair.
did mean white people.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't. You're the one who brought it up.
Frankly, there's just not enough white people in Utah. We need to be.
It's a local Utah joke here. I'm just multiplying, replenishing the earth. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Listen, I told you the other day, I'm pretty close to done with Utah.
Yeah.
I have a retraction to print on the show.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Kind of.
You know the rule, right? You have to. It has to be as big as the mistake was.
Right, page 1.
Yep.
I don't know when, 2 shows ago or so, last show, I was talking major crap on the Utah legislature for wanting to pipe in seawater
Yeah.
into the Great Salt Lake.
And now.
No. I knew it was bad already because I brought that up with you.
Uh-huh.
I said that there's toxic dust. I said arsenic as a joke. Turns out that's
It's
true.
legit. Yep. It's a
New
real
York
problem.
Times. Did you see this? New York Times did a huge profile on the Great Salt Lake and how it's drying up. And there's all these heavy metals and poisons from our mining days that's in the dust.
Right.
And then what they did is they compared it to a lake called Owens Lake in California in the 70s or something. Did you read the article?
I didn't read it, but I know what you're talking about.
In the 70s, there's a beautiful lake in the middle of the desert called Owens Lake. Big city next to it. Not as big as the Wasatch Front here, but big city. L.A. is running out of water. So they buy land next to the lake and drain the lake so that they can have the water.
Right.
It creates the biggest pollution disaster in like United States history. Just dust everywhere. They sued the city of, I can't remember what the city was called, but by Owens Lake. They sued LA and won. LA had to pay a bunch of money, and now they have to maintain the lake bed. So they poured gravel on it and like have sprinklers constantly shooting out, like the tailings at Kennecott, you know?
Right.
And they're like, this is going to happen to the Great Salt Lake. They showed overhead shots from 1987 to now. It's 2/3 smaller.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is it. We're going to be wearing masks again
Yeah.
because of the arsenic.
Yeah.
Like by this summer, it could happen.
If we got like a mega windstorm that came through that was
Yeah.
enough to push up, it's already out and exposed.
Right.
It's bad.
I mean, luckily, most of our winds go from the east to the west. That's not a good thing for like Tooele.
Oh, it's
But-
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if you live on this side of the,
Right,
the lake,
right.
you're okay.
You know the kind of people that live
West
in
to
Tooele
east
anyway.
doesn't happen a lot, but it certainly could stir it up.
Sure.
But so my retraction is kind. I still think they're silly. I still think that it's more important to bring in fresh water. My brother called my dad from Portland yesterday and said, "Have you guys gotten any rain?" We're like, "Not really, a little bit." And in Portland, they're getting floods.
Oh, dude.
They're on television. The
You said that.
governor's talking about flood control.
So every city needs a pipe that goes
Yeah.
to every other city. There's got to be a way to do this.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you're looking at putting a pipe across the Sierra Nevada mountains to get to the Great Salt Lake, can we not put a pipe from, northern Idaho,
Montana.
Montana?
Well, they don't
they-
always. Those aren't traditional flood places. I mean, I know it's happening, but it's not.
Well, Oregon, right? You
Sure.
could go to
Yeah.
could go to eastern Oregon and come down through Idaho. You don't
I
have
mean,
to cross over.
traditionally, your biggest flood places are the central states and
Well,
and the
Pacific
South.
Northwest.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right.
You know,
it
it's
rains a
getting
lot there, but
I lived there for a couple of years. It's wet all the time.
Right.
It would just be misty for like 7 straight days. Literally, you just wet.
Right.
walking
But I
around.
sent you a house in, where was that one? Pennsylvania?
I don't know. I didn't.
I was looking at,
I looked and I was like, oh,
He doesn't look at your text.
I'm not gonna move. I wouldn't move to St. George. Why am I gonna move to Pennsylvania?
I do this crap all the time. I'm like, where could I live? And I do like.
Well, they're
look
cheap.
out. They're crazy cheap.
You know why they're
crazy
cheap?
cheap.
Because no one wants to live there.
Yeah, I'm okay.
What are you
with
gonna
that.
go live with the Amish?
Yeah, I'd do that.
the Pennsylvania is not all Amish. First of all, they're great people.
Have you been to Pennsylvania?
Utah's all Mormons, right? It's the same thing.
Yeah, you've ever been to Philly?
No, but
All
I've
right,
been to,
all
I've been
right,
to
all
Pitts-
right,
I have
all
been to
right.
Pittsburgh, and I went to a Pirates game. Whole stadium Amish.
The whole stadium.
The whole stadium.
whole stadium.
I was sitting next to Dodgers fans from L.A., and the rest were Amish.
Do you have a problem with the Amish?
You know I have a problem.
were
with the Amish.
raised
We talked
Mormon.
about this off the air. You know how I feel about Christy Alley and Tim Allen and the Amish.
Hold on. Why are you connecting Amish and Mormon people? That's not even the same.
You know that.
I have a TV in my house, and I'm Mormon. I
Aren't
mean,
they,
I don't know
though?
what to tell you.
So do Amish
And I don't
people.
make
They just-
fireplaces.
That's not true.
I don't.
I've seen your fireplace.
I don't
you
have
clearly
one.
made that.
I don't. Shh, shh.
Listen, I also was talking to him about upstate New York because it's
Okay.
beautiful up there in
It's very
summer.
beautiful.
Winters are rough, but it's like you could sell this house that you're in now and buy one cash, no mortgage. And for the salary that you expect
So I
to
could
get
buy
paid,
a
you'd be
house
fine.
for $60,000.
Yes.
Then why not move to Detroit?
What?
Because then you
What-
live in Detroit.
What kind of straw man are you trying to bring up here? I don't understand.
So I talk with the wife about this all the time. Like, we could move into, whatever, fill in the blank. Like, Virginia is a place. Like, you get lakefront property for next to nothing in
Right.
certain areas. And then she's like, but then we're there alone. Like, it's just us. Like, all right, we got to get some people to go in on this with us.
Right.
Like, we got to, it can't just be
I
the
feel
two
like
of us,
Brian
why would
wants to
you-
be like the modern day Nephi, leading us across to the
I
or
wanna
Brigham
move
Young back to the promised
back,
land.
back for Brian's promised land.
Turns
But
out
why
Utah
don't
wasn't
you-
the promised land. We need
Why
to go
would you
back.
say you'd never leave here?
No, I'm just saying I have friends and family here.
Roots get deep.
I like it here. I like Utah. If I wanted to move, I could have done it a long time ago.
Ethan and Stephanie swore they weren't going to move back to Utah, and they did.
No,
Because
You know
I
how
know.
many
roots are
people?
deep.
You know how many people? I can't tell you how many people I've known who have left and come back, including myself.
I actually have I'm a history major. Remember that, Brian? So let me tell you a story.
Sorry, I just got a message popped up on my screen about 6 white nationalists from Utah were arrested in that.
They were from Idaho.
Hey, that's from Utah, Spencer.
Yeah,
There's no white nationalists
they
in
don't
the
say,
Northeast.
they don't.
White
They don't
racist,
say
so
that.
No white nationalists in the Northeast.
That's
Okay,
not true at all. I lived up there.
just kidding. Charlottesville aside.
I've heard the Amish are pretty reasonable with race.
I actually don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
I think they're a beautiful people.
I assume they're all white. Because only a white person would be stupid enough to not have any technology.
Oh,
History major.
all
Go
well,
ahead.
this is. I mean, now it feels irrelevant, but I'll be quick.
No.
So there was I took a class that was on the history of the West and what defines the West, quote unquote West. And they took the whole term was talking primarily about. They just debunked this whole idea of like the Wild West and how it really wasn't a true thing, and like the cowboys who would go across the plains and all that stuff, and it was all just based off of moving cattle towards railroads, which were like high technology and all that stuff. Anyway, one of the things that he talked about was there's a couple of major factors, but one major factor of what identifies as the West is, in modern day, is mobility. People in the West move all the time. You see people here in Utah who are from California or Oregon or Arizona, and when we lived in Washington, same thing. People move everywhere, except statistically for Utah. People do not leave Utah. Utah is the only little donut hole in the donut of the West. That
Right.
Everybody moves, but people don't move from Utah.
It's a gooey center.
Yep.
But the thing is that Spencer's not even from here.
I know, but
That's
it's
what
funny
happens, though.
But yeah, you fit the
I
statistic.
I came. I hated it for the first year. After 15 years, I quite like it. At some point, I moved to Colorado and was like, I want to go back. So I came back.
Say what you want about it. It does it right in a lot of ways.
What do you?
But
Your face isn't showing on when you lean forward.
I know I'm having a hard time here.
No, it's fine. I was
'Cause I'm
just
fidgety.
I just
'Cause
wanted-
I don't have ADD. Though.
do I make you uncomfortable?
No, I'm always.
No,
Fidgety.
if anything, he was leaning closer to you.
It's the.
You make me uncomfortable.
I'm
Sorry,
sure
I said
when
that wrong.
when I sit next to people on the airplanes, they're just like, "Will this guy just sit still? He's too fat to be
Oh.
this fidgety."
drive my wife crazy. I fidget all the time. She absolutely hates me.
Speaking of airplanes, I went to Denver last week.
Awesome.
For work or fun? Yes.
Do people go to Denver for fun?
Well, you
If you
did,
have
and then
people
you
you
said
know
you
in
didn't
Denver.
like it.
I moved back. No, I went to Denver for work,
Lives in Ogden.
and on the way back, we hit turbulence, or as they call it now, rough air, which I still haven't figured out why that's like why they.
Wouldn't it be like pocketed air?
I don't know. They stopped calling it turbulence and they call it rough air,
Or
and
like-
I don't know when or why that happened.
Pockets of no air is what it should be.
Maybe.
Pockets of less air.
I feel like as a whole we dumb down terms for people who don't want to learn like turbulent. It's just
Well,
rough air.
The air's
Let's just call it rough air.
It's rocky.
They put
rocky air.
Turbulence has this negative
Yeah.
thing now, like the plane's going to crash, you know?
Yeah.
If someone's like, don't worry, it's not turbulence. It's just rough air.
Just
It's
rough
rough
air.
air. The air's rough.
Don't worry, it's not socialism. It's Democrats.
Right.
So we hit weird. It was. I've been in I've flown a bajillion times now, been on all sorts of turbulence, but this was different. Normally the plane just kind of bounces up and down. We took huge dips on just
On one side?
on both. We were just like,
But one side at a time.
Makes my
Yeah.
stomach flip
Yeah.
thinking about it right
and
now.
it was weird, and I wouldn't say that it frightened me, but I was just kind of like, this is different. This is kind of odd. And I looked around and I started noticing people started to do weird things.
They automatically go to what's that position called with your head between your
No,
legs?
Fetal position?
not necessarily. But I looked around, and the first thing I noticed is that people were opening their window shades. As if there was a dragon on the outside of the plane. They're like, oh my God, what is that?
Maybe they want to see if the
There's
wing
like,
is still attached.
is there a gremlin out there tearing the plane apart? As if opening the window shade is going to reveal they're going to open it and there's going to be a giant tidal wave outside coming to kill
Well,
us. Or
if the wing's gonna come off, I want to see it.
you want to see it
come
happen?
off.
Yeah, we had to bank left from that iceberg. Like,
Yeah.
what are they going to
Right.
see? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. The second thing I noticed, a lot of people pulling out the safety card.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What do I do now?
They're like, oh no, I should have read this. My only regret is not reading the safety card.
Stupid
What are we
bows.
gonna do?
I had my stupid bows on when they were making the announcements.
Where's the lighted flooring? Where's the nearest exit? It's
jeez.
just
Where's the
funny.
life vest? Even though we're over a mountain.
I think that's that's society in a nutshell. We worry about what we need to be doing way too late. Like, we should have been thinking
Right.
about this well ahead of time.
Like piping water in.
Like,
to Great Salt Lake.
yeah, exactly.
I also saw people asking the person next to them what was happening. Like, hey, what's going on? As if I'm watching the same flight you are. I
Would've
see
been-
the dragon on the wing just like you. I don't know.
What if there were two people arguing? One was saying it was turbulence, and the other was saying, no,
It's
it's rough air.
Clearly,
This is
isn't
not turbulence. This is not turbulence.
Someone is jumping up and down on the wing outside. It's making us bank weird. And then a few people rang the flight attendants as if they're going to get up out of their chair and be like, "Oh, what's happening, sir? Oh, we're having rough air."
I saw a TikTok of turbulence, and there was a guy. I don't think he was the one filming, but he kept saying over and over again, "What's going on? What is going on?" As if someone's going to approach him.
Yeah.
I'm
push your
sorry,
call
sir.
button.
Yeah, I'm sorry, sir. There's rough air.
You just have to accept it. It's part of flying. We're going to fly to Oregon next week, and my daughter's been on a plane once, but she was like 18 months old, so she doesn't remember. She's super pumped, but it's like we hit some turbulence. She's going to immediately flip. She's 5 and she's way over the top about everything. It's going to be hilarious.
I will.
On this video, too,
Yeah.
the pilot hopped on and was like, sorry, we hit a rough patch there. Everything's fine, but we're going to take the plane to a safer altitude.
Oh,
like safer.
shouldn't have said that.
I don't know if you should put the word safer in there.
Shouldn't have said that.
Smoother,
Yeah.
less rough air.
I feel like being higher is less safe.
So-
I don't know.
Well,
I mean,
he was just going to
yeah,
go wherever
yeah.
he needed to, but he
Yeah.
said safer.
Higher, there's typically less problems when you get.
So then
higher.
why not start there?
You got to start on the ground.
Well,
Well,
how do you,
why not start
I
there
was-
after taking off?
I didn't know how to answer that, Jake. I'm going to be honest. I like
Well, they
take the elevator to the
Take
plane.
my literal answer.
They do try and get into the
Sweet spot.
yeah,
Gulf Stream,
I will.
right?
It was weird that we were flying through the clouds in this particular, which normally you fly above the clouds, and I don't know what the deal was with that. If it was because it was just such a short flight, but I don't know. It was weird.
That's true. You barely get to altitude going to Denver.
Kinda, yeah. Speaking of kids and flying and first flights, as much as I dislike children,
You see?
told you it's getting
He
gonna
does
get
dislike
hot in here,
children.
right?
You do dislike children. You're right.
A few months ago when I was flying out of Detroit, no, it was in Minneapolis. I don't remember. Anyway, there was a kid behind me, and it was his first time flying, and I got quite a kick out of his joy.
That's cool.
He was it was pretty cool, because
Because you're not able to show that anymore.
no.
That's how you feel, but you're not able to
Yeah.
express it.
probably.
Just circle back to the previous point about kids. That probably is one of the main reasons why it's a net positive. Watching a kid see something or experience something for the first time is amazing.
It's true.
It's super fun. Christmas for the first time, playing on a water table.
Sex.
Sex
Sex for the first time.
That's well, this conversation. I'm out now.
Your dad didn't watch?
No,
Oh.
no. This is weird.
Well, I mean, was your uncle there?
Oh,
Aren't you Mormon?
That's definitely not part of the deal. If it is, it wasn't in my family. Actually, I'm the
He's
only
that
member.
offshoot.
I'm the only member in my immediate family.
What are you,
so
some
maybe
sort of
that's why.
fundamentalist?
I didn't. I think that would go
he's
the other
down
way.
there with Warren.
Oh man, I know when I come hang out with you guys, I'm going to expect something ridiculous. That might be the winner.
That's good stuff.
Oh man, do you see Warren's new documentary?
I did. I started it.
He's got another. Well, there's two of them. There's one on Netflix now too.
Yeah, that's.
Peacock and Netflix.
I think I'm like 3 episodes into the one. That's, what is it? Like, stay sweet, obey, and pray. Is that the title of it?
Yeah, that's
because
the
that was what
Netflix one.
Rulon Jeffs always said.
Right.
Was stay sweet, or something like that. Was it
Yeah.
stay sweet? I think it was stay sweet.
Probably.
That he said to all his. Yeah, he had a secret handshake. If have you not watched this?
No, I haven't.
So, when a girl was ready to be married,
Yeah,
on.
yeah, you have to be very clear there. Yeah,
Woman.
she would talk to her dad and say, "I'm ready to go see the prophet Rulon
yeah.
about where I should be placed." Basically, and he had a secret handshake that
So weird.
When he would meet you, and if he wanted you to be his wife, he would squeeze your hand 3 times. And yeah,
Start doing that.
I hate, I mean, we could get, there's a whole lot of conversation about religion in general terms.
Yeah.
I hate the fact that, me being an active member of the LDS Church, I get associated to the craziest portion of
That's true.
people who were ever, I hate that so much. Because I don't know if you're watching Under the Banner of Heaven.
Yeah.
That's another one where I'm watching it, and I see some airs, and I'm like, all right, there are some weird people in every church, but in this one, okay. But then they also have scenes where I'm like, no member of this church I've ever met has ever done that ever,
Right.
or been that way ever. You always just get associated with the most extreme portion of whatever
Right.
you're
I think Hulk
hate
Hogan punched up that show because there's a lot of brothers in it.
he was
Listen, brother.
he was
Brother.
He was an executive producer. Did you not see that?
Listen, brother. If
Listen,
you don't get back in this church, I'm gonna take these 22-inch pythons.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not giving you my money
Yeah.
to make the show.
You're gonna pay me per brother.
Yeah, we're on episode 5 of that. I think it's you're meant to. You kind of identify more with Pyrie, Andrew Garfield's character, but it's true. It's true. You do get just like the Amish,
It's kind of part of it. Yeah. We just did that with another group, as I say that.
right?
Well, I mean,
Have you guys ever? Did you learn about Rumspringa?
Yeah.
Rumspringa is awesome.
Yeah.
So if
You
you're
know anything about this?
if you're in an Amish community, when you is it 16?
oh yeah.
I think it's 16. Yeah. Rom Springer or whatever. However.
Yeah. When you're 16, you take off on what's called a Rumspringa, which is you.
I know what
Get
it
it-
is.
get
I
it out of your
I'd
system.
never
Yeah.
heard it called that. So,
Yeah, get it out of your system.
Yeah.
So
But
don't
don't
do
you?
everything.
You can choose not to come back.
Right.
though,
Yes,
I mean,
yes,
that's the
but then
whole-
you're shunned from the society, I
Right.
believe, if you do that. But
Right.
it's a way
You can't go. You can't really visit and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, I mean, you get an iPhone though, so why would you want to go
You
back?
can FaceTime.
Yeah.
yeah.
through the
There's
through
a
the
lot of people-
fireplace.
It's
Yeah.
kind of a good example though of the social aspect of religion or culture.
Because most of them go back.
Most of them go back because even the stuff of the world isn't enough for them to go
Right.
well. But I'd prefer to still be with my family and community.
Right.
So I'm willing to live this life because
I
of
mean,
that.
they do kind of. Most of them kind of go ham though.
Oh, they go way crazy.
They're drinking. They're doing
Oh,
drugs. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not just living a normal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're not living a normal 16-year-old life, regardless. But
Well, define normal.
well, they're not in
Culturally.
they're not in high
seen
school.
I've
Sure.
seen the show Euphoria. I know what being 16 is like.
I'm a high school teacher. I know what 16 is like. You don't want to go back there.
I didn't do anything when I was 16.
Me neither.
Um,
Regrettably.
Speaking of being 16, you know what came out in my teens was the Star Wars prequels,
1999.
starting in 1999. Have you guys seen Obi-Wan?
I haven't.
No.
None of it?
We haven't watched that one yet. We just got done
Oh.
with the other one that was on before that.
The
Um,
Boba Fett.
yeah, Boba Fett one. Yeah.
That's good.
Is Obi-Wan good?
Yes.
Are you
It's-
racist?
That was
Are you joining into that
Oh
that thing? Ewan McGregor put out a statement
no, yeah, that's
you are not part of the Star Wars
no.
family if you're
well,
racist.
I mean, I'm not.
Because his co-stars.
I am racist, but not because no, no, that's fine. I don't know why that's a thing, but anyway,
Well,
everything's racist.
it's
these days.
good. It does have some. I don't know. It may not be as good as as I think it is, but it's fine. It's cool. It's got some cool stuff.
A lot
But
of people like it though.
yeah, I think so. John Williams did the theme for the
course he did.
thing, right? And John Williams has done a lot of Star Wars music for all the movies, and he's old. He's really old. He's probably should be.
The
you
guy
know-
doesn't miss though.
right. No,
He never
you're on
misses.
point.
it's good. And I just was thinking the other day, what is something that I love so much that I would want to do it until I literally am about to die?
A podcast.
Because John Williams doesn't need the money, right? There's no way John Williams is hard up for money. And they're
no, he clearly loves it.
right.
He didn't need the money after 1977.
Probably.
You know, he
Probably
did the
true.
first Star Wars,
after,
then Empire.
after Jaws.
Assuming the contract was such that he gets paid
Right. Well,
in perpetuity. But I don't know.
I think after Empire, right? So Star Wars, who knows what his contract was, but Empire should have been
probably should have been
a
the
decent
that's
deal.
the paycheck.
But then he
Right.
continued. He did like E.T.
He's-
and
yeah,
Indiana
he's
Jones.
tons and tons of
Yeah.
stuff. And I honestly, I couldn't think of anything that I love so much that I would just want to do. So I thought I'd pose the question to you guys. What is something that you love doing so much that you would do regardless of the money until you were 90?
Is this a good time for me to plug my OnlyFans?
At Jake's feet.
I just love
No, it's-
arousing people
I
with
just
my
changed
feet.
it at Jake's feet and such.
Right.
Oh, you leave it a little more ambiguous there. It could be feet, but it could be and
Could be
such.
shoes.
Is it gross? That's a good question though, because yeah, well, like Tom Brady's a good example of this, where you're just like, this dude has more money than he'll ever need, and his wife makes 10 times more money than they'll ever spend. Why does he continue to stand?
Because he hates his family.
We got.
That has to
Tiger
be
Woods.
No, he's just that epically competitive that he loves. He thrives on the day-to-day grind of being a quarterback in the NFL, and
Yeah.
like, so that's just an example of.
You could probably go top athlete in lots of sport. Like LeBron
Yep.
he broke $1 billion. Tiger Woods is over $1 billion.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's no need for them to continue other than the desire to whatever, right? Whatever that end
Yeah.
goal
Although
is.
I
Yeah.
did see that Phil Mickelson lost $40 million
Yeah.
gambling
Yeah.
in like a year
Bet
Yeah.
he'll be okay.
or something.
But that's because they love it so much.
He loves gambling so much.
Love
I
gambling.
don't know. I like.
For me, well, go ahead.
Well, I don't want to like cop out answer here, because everybody who's ever had a job ever has been like, this day sucks, right?
Right.
But more often than not, I love what I do, and I am totally fine at this point in my life saying I'm happy to do that through retirement, and because I feel like I've found a niche that I fit and I do well, and I feel like I give back, like and so like it's very fulfilling in a lot of ways. So I like being in education as a whole. Could I do it till I was 90? I don't know. So I don't know if I'd call it the same kind of passion. But it's hard. I mean, that's a good
Granted,
question.
you know, I'm sure being a composer, especially at this age, it's not like it's a day-to-day grind. It's you know,
He's
like,
probably
hey,
got-
John, will you do this one song for us?
He's probably got interns too, where he
Oh,
just
probably.
sings
Probably.
it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's a
He's
C."
like, give me one of these.
John, I think that's taken.
Okay.
You're fucking fired. Get out of here. You don't think you could raise birds?
Well, yeah, I guess.
Is there enough money in that?
No, well,
That's not.
that's not obviously.
I guess that's not.
that's not the
literally
thing.
the opposite point, isn't
Right.
it?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I just
There
know
could be, but
I
he
like,
won't sell any of his birds.
Right.
Love them too much.
It's like selling your kids.
You know why? You know why I don't sell my birds, and I'm having a hard time even telling people that I have birds anymore, because without fail, every person like, yeah, I have birds. I'm like, oh, I had a bird once, and my dog ate it, or it escaped, or something. I'm like, I don't care. Why are you telling me this, Randy? Why are you telling me this? Like, I don't.
Well, it's human nature to find some like common ground.
Common ground, yeah.
yeah, but I don't go like, oh, I had a baby once and it drowned. So,
Because
like,
that didn't happen.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Boy, I took a
wouldn't-
big gamble there that didn't happen. I really wasn't sure.
I mean, I could see you being upset if you're like, yeah, I have like 29 birds, and someone's like, I had a turtle. Like that. That's okay. You
Well,
know,
my wife will
But
get
if
all
someone
the
just trying
time.
to find you common ground.
Yeah, as a vet, she'll be like, "Yo, I'm a veterinarian." They're like, she'll get it all the time. Oh, I'm a groomer. Like, not the
Cool.
same. Not.
My
not-
son's Pope.
Yeah. It'd be like if you're like, "Oh yeah, I'm a doctor, like a human physician." It'll be like, "Oh yeah, I cut hair." Like it's the same
That is the
connection.
same thing.
I'm a surgeon. Okay,
So
yeah.
at least if it was an actual bird, I've never.
Right.
owned a
I
bird.
paint nails.
I just
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
want to hear about birds dying. I don't care that you had a bird and it died, and that just gives me more fodder for not wanting to sell my
Yeah.
birds because I'm just going to give it to someone and their dog's going to
should-
eat them.
But
You should stop and be like, listen, I was with you until you talked about it dying.
Right,
If you want to say that you had a bird, just say you had a bird.
right.
Don't tell me about your
just be
grandma
done.
dying.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
like I'm
fine.
going to see my grandma. Oh, I had a grandma. She died. You don't say that. Just say you have a grandma.
That's true.
That's a real
That's-
killer of a
that's
conversation,
like-
right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you want to come see my grandma? I mean,
So, like, if you assume money somewhat aside, right, you could make enough to just live a okay life. You breeding birds, would that be a thing you could just do forever?
I don't want to breed them though. I just like having them
just-
around.
just
like
they
having
just
them.
they just breed, and I keep trying
he
to get
fosters
them
an
to stop.
environment of breeding.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's a very horny household in here. There's a lot of hormones.
There's
They
a lot of
can't help
saxophone
it.
music in the
Yeah,
background when I
there's
walked in here.
I play
today.
a lot of Kenny G, and the birds just really dig
If
that. It puts them
anybody-
in the mood.
Makes love to Kenny G.
If anybody does,
Yeah, if anybody does,
Or
that-
ever
Careful
has.
before you start talking about me here.
or has, I want to meet their children.
You've met Olivia.
Freaking Kenny G, man.
Yeah, why is that associated so heavily? That's
I
got to
don't
be a
know.
generational thing because that's.
Well, it's like
not
it
us.
takes me back to Wayne's World when like Garth's like someone says Kenny G, and he's like Kenny G, and he imagines being at the dentist because the dentist is listening to Kenny G all the
That's
time.
funny. Well, what would yours be, Brian?
I don't know. I could record a podcast until I die.
yeah.
talk.
No, that's
We'll play music, you guys. I
well.
mean,
That's the thing. So that's where I kind of got off is because I do like writing music, but I have a hard time doing it. Like I don't want to do it. I tried yesterday. I started. I kind of got a quarter of the way through something. I'm like, I don't want to do this.
Well,
like
you know why?
playing it though.
You know
Playing it, yeah, that's different.
You know why? Because your life has gotten markedly better since we
It's fair.
started writing these
fair.
songs.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know.
Like when you called me and said, "Hey," or you text me said, "Hey, do you want to start writing songs again?"
right.
You told me some stuff that's going on in your life. I never told you this. I had like a panic attack in the fucking parking lot.
Yeah, you told me that.
You know?
Yeah.
I called my dad. I said, "I hope you're close because I'm losing my mind. I have another friend going through a shitty time and I can't take it." But then we started writing music. The same thing happened to me. I wrote a bunch of songs after Sarah died,
Right.
and then things kind of got better. And I met Ashley and we got married and I couldn't write any songs anymore.
It's very therapeutic to get
Yeah.
you get it out.
I'm gonna get
Something bad has to
So
happen.
let's
I'm gonna
go
get
through some
someone
trauma
to, I'm gonna
together.
Get, I'm gonna pay someone to kidnap your kids.
I wrote I wrote one last
Temporarily.
We got
Just-
just
seriously.
for a weekend.
for a weekend.
because I
You just gotta get this song out, and then you can have it back.
I didn't date anyone after me and my ex-girlfriend broke up for a long time,
Uh-huh.
right? And I
Right.
wrote a bunch of songs, and then I met Ashton. I wrote one more happy song, and then the market just broke up. You know?
that's mostly
Thanks,
Dawn's
Ashley.
fault.
Thanks. I
That's
like
true,
the
that's
market.
Dan's
Ashley's
fault.
fault.
Freaking Yoko.
Yoga.
It's hard. It's hard. Like some people do find inspiration through happiness, and then there's people like Edgar Allan Poe or Van Gogh.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, it's like
yeah.
they wouldn't have done what they did if they weren't miserable.
Is that like, oh, this is way off the top of my head here. Is this why like some people will be like, you'll love a band for their first couple albums, but then they'll get to like sellout mode.
Yeah.
Well, they're getting songs from other people because they're like, well, our life is great now because
Well,
we're making millions of dollars.
yes.
So they're buying.
Well, and
pre-made.
generally, like when a band is just starting, they'll spend a lot of time on that first album
Mm-hmm.
or their first songs because they have nothing but time. In the music industry, it's called the sophomore slump. That second album that they write sometimes doesn't hit.
They had to hammer it out in a year
Right.
instead of.
They signed a deal. The record label wants 20 songs. We're going to pick 10 of them.
Yeah.
So
You
you're just like,
know-
all right, whatever.
You know what band has never happened to?
Newfound Glory.
Good
Good
Charlotte.
Oh no, that's right. Good Charlotte.
Did they even have 2 albums?
They have
Worthwhile.
Like, no, I mean,
I've never been into that genre
No.
of band at all.
you never.
Oh, man.
You don't have any pop punk. Pop.
No.
pop
I
tell you
pop-
what,
pop
dude,
punk
I
rock?
was opposite in high school. I did not fit in at all.
I was driving up to Tremont last night to do the vending machine.
Uh-huh.
And usually I listen to a book, The Expanse.
Yeah.
But NoFX popped in my head. I haven't listened to NoFX
Hmm.
in like 20 years. And I put on their album So Long and Thanks for All the Shoes. And holy shit, that just took me back. It's
good
a
stuff.
great album.
What music did you listen to in high school?
I was like really odd. I was really into like 80s hair band stuff. which for some reason, like my mom totally got me into. So
Like-
I was
like Poison?
like Poison, Motley Crue.
Dude, I do love the Crew.
I love it's such like mainstream crap, like, but it's really fun. I always really love that kind of stuff. Like, and this is an '80s hair band, but I loved Kiss, still do. One of my favorite bands of all time. Primarily, when I first learned how to play the drums, I was given a really tiny drum set, right? Bass, tom, snare,
Right.
little tiny cymbal, and my stepdad gave me the first their first CD, and he was like, he taught me one beat, and he was like, play the rest, learn the rest of this, and I'll get you a full drum set.
This is
So I
Kiss?
learned, so I
That's
learned the
awesome.
whole first
That's
CD
fantastic.
of Kiss, and then he got me a full on Pearl set and everything.
That's cool, man.
So so there's just like some nostalgic
Why
feel
didn't-
to it.
If you can play
But
drums, why don't we get you to
I'm
fill in
not.
for Ethan
It's
every
true.
time he's broken his?
back or his legs or
I haven't played the drums. I have a drum set. Amanda just got me one for Christmas because
Oh,
I really
really?
want to get back into it. And then we started a business, and so it sits in the basement.
It's
but
tough.
It is hard. It's not a very family friendly instrument to.
He's got
to
some
play.
electric ones.
That's what I said, but
Even
then I got a
electric
real
ones, like
There's
you
still
haven't, you have, yeah, you still hear them.
True.
Unless you get like the, I mean, you can spend some money and get the, like
The Roland ones, man,
Yeah.
those are.
Yeah.
But they're
they're
also
like a mesh instead of
like
a
a-
pad.
like a
so
pad, yeah.
expensive. It's crazy how expensive they
Right.
are.
Yeah, I'm not good anymore. I could probably pick up a couple simple beats, but I'm not very good anymore. But
And there's something, maybe it's me, but there's something about electric drums
it sounds a little different.
that you're just like,
It's not as fulfilling.
Well, yeah, but I mean, in a pinch, I mean,
no, it's fine.
if the
you want to
option,
slam that floor tom, boom, right? It's different.
yeah, except it clips so you don't hear it. Oh man, I want to feel it in my chest.
Yeah, yeah.
I got to hook it up to a PA to feel it. I may as well just play
then
the
But then
you
what's the
Yeah.
point? Yeah, you just-
these drums are great, but I need 3 speakers and a
in a sub.
and a sub.
Yeah.
Then it's louder than the regular drums. Can you turn those down?
It,
No.
it allows
No.
us to mix perfectly.
Did I ever
Yeah.
tell you about the time when I was, because when I was in my early 20s and in a band, we played at the bottom of a 3-story apartment because that was,
man.
and the guy came down and told us to turn down the drums. Yeah.
Sure, like tuning.
Yeah.
it is the sound that travels the most, I might
Oh,
say.
the kick drum and the
Yeah,
bass
dude.
guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so I was a little off. I listened to a lot of that kind of stuff. I didn't really fit in as far as music choices go. I was
So-
never the one that picked the music.
in your life, like who would you say right now is your like favorite artist of all time or band?
Oh, dude, this is like so.
No judgment.
I know. So I have a hard time answering because like favorite of all time ever.
Maybe
is
just-
probably a band you've never heard of.
Maybe give me like. Well, go ahead and say who it is.
So-
If you have to just say like these guys for sure are in my top 5, that's an easier way of doing
Okay,
it.
for sure. I'll tell you, my favorite band of all time is The Darkness. I don't know if you know
Oh,
anything
yeah,
about
dude.
The, oh, I love The Darkness.
Yeah.
They are weird as all get out.
You guys
But
super weird.
They are the example of they were like, we're going to play the music we want to play, no matter how weird it is.
Right.
And they got crazy
Well, they're a
popular when
hair
they did it.
band in the
Yes.
early 2000s.
Yeah. So an old critique of them was we played it at our wedding. Like Amanda and I love is the I believe in a thing called love is their number one
believe
song.
in a
back-
thing
yeah.
called love.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
listen to the rhythm of heart.
Oh man.
So they were a critique of them originally was they're a mix between a straight Queen and a gay AC/DC.
All right. Yeah.
Which I was like, I could hear that.
Yeah.
So I love The Darkness. They're really fun.
I've come across some live videos of theirs too, and they're great live.
They're good. Oh, they came here live 2 years ago or three years ago. It was great. It was
Yeah.
super fun. And he sounds just as good live as he does.
Listen to those
recorded.
guitars, man. Listen
Yeah,
to
hit it up.
those panned guitars. If you listen to these on headphones,
This music video is fascinating.
is he wearing his jumpsuit zipped down
Not
to
yet.
his
No,
No,
crotch?
he's not
right
wearing
there.
anything.
Now he is. He was naked getting dried off by the big
Ah.
woolly guy.
They're in a spaceship. And
This song was huge.
Huge.
In like 2003, 2004.
And they have stuff now. They just came out with an album 3 months ago. It's some of their best stuff they've ever done. Like musically, they literally are just going, we're going to play what we want. We don't care. I really like them for that reason.
Yeah.
And I'm into like unique vocal. Like,
Well, there's no one that sings like The Darkness. That's
nobody
for
just
sure.
sings. Yeah. So like all throughout the 2000s, like this
got
is why I
really-
struggled
Got
with.
really bad teeth.
Yeah, he does. Well, he's British.
British.
They're British.
Oh, okay.
Newfound Glory and all those. To me, I was like, they all just sound the same. Their singers all sound the same to me. That's my own personal opinion.
That's fair.
And so I like unique vocals. So that's kind of my fit. Which is so like I like Led Zeppelin a lot. Like if you're talking
Sure.
like old time stuff, I just think like there's a unique sound when you hear Led Zeppelin. You know Led Zeppelin.
Yeah. No diss to the Darkness, but I
No,
don't
it's
know
fine.
of anybody who would say that.
What?
That they're their favorite of all time.
I agree. That's why I was like,
Yeah.
you're gonna kind of laugh.
No,
about it, but-
no judgment. I mean, everybody, most people don't, when they ask me, they don't say, I tell them like AFI, and they're like,
What?
oh, wow.
Yeah.
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 So,
I don't
There
know
you
if
go.
I have a favorite band anymore. I don't know.
who's someone in your top
Yeah.
five?
Just say top 5.
Rejected Takeoff.
Fair.
I like our own music.
I rock out to you guys' stuff in my classroom.
I do
all the
like
time.
our own music. It's,
Oh, so you're the one
good.
that gets us plays in.
I play it in my classroom all the time. I actually have kids come up all the time. They're like, "Who's this?" Like you've never heard of them, but let me tell you about them now.
Did our streams bump up after the show?
They were up before the show, and then they've gone steadily down to like nothing. So maybe people were like, "Oh, wow, these guys are actually terrible."
They saw us like those are some.
We should have put a disclaimer: we are not good live. This is not.
This is not the live.
I thought
band
we
to
did
go
fine,
see.
but they're like these sort of guys are in their late 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ethan said you guys were way better off than the rest of them. I mean, as far as
I
like,
thought we did
quality is concerned, what
The
you guys
third
Spencer
band,
had a
the-
rough night, just in his own
His
mind.
own
No,
Yeah.
no.
You're your own worst critic
No, no,
on
no, no.
everything, man.
There was a point where I got so far off that if you were watching me, you would have seen me yell into the mic, "Where the hell am I?"
Did you get that one recorded, or was that after the thing
It was
stopped?
after my camera overheated.
I
That's
thought
lame.
I thought we sounded good.
I'll get
So,
us another
yeah.
show here pretty soon, though. You can come to that one.
Yeah,
We'll do
I don't remember why we couldn't go to that one. We were out of town or something.
We'll do a better job. Danny texted me. He's like, I didn't know about your show till the podcast when you told people thanks for coming. So we got to do a better job. I mean, you could Rejected Takeoff has an Instagram page. But
I don't know. It's fine. We'll do it live. But yeah, well, this next time will be way better. We're gonna be. Randy's gonna know his parts.
fair enough. We
And-
actually didn't want a lot of people to know about this show.
You guys are patching it together.
Yeah, it's your
Yeah.
first one. You just
Yeah.
go and make sure it's actually going to work.
We actually probably had more people there than anybody else, though. Mostly thanks to Randy's family.
Right.
But yeah.
Your dad was there, and he actually gave us some compliments.
Yeah.
Which he never did for the market.
I don't think he ever came to the market.
He heard us jamming once,
Oh well.
and he came down. He's like,
Man, I'm seeing more
quit
and
your day
more.
job.
I'm
yeah.
no, that is literally
He's
probably
very-
what he said.
he's very
That is
honest.
something that he would say. That is definitely words he has uttered before.
Yeah, that's a dad thing.
Apparently,
So
he
I'm just
leaned
fitting
over
into
to
my
Ashley
dad.
though at one point. Was like, "You guys are actually pretty
I
good."
really like your guys' stuff, honestly. It's a unique sound. There's not a lot out there that sounds exactly
There's not
like
a lot
it.
of vocalists out there that are willing to be that bad and still record
Still
themselves.
just beat it out there. I think it's
Wait, are
unique
you
and
talking
fun.
about me?
No, no.
So you go to AFI as a top 5
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure, like if not number 1. Pushing
Yeah, I mean, so my top, if I were to give him my top 3 would be like AFI, the Get Up Kids, and Blink 182.
See, Blink, that's that genre of
Yeah.
just like, yeah.
Blink, I don't know. Blink sounds different than I don't know.
Different enough, but it just
I mean, they did
It
kind of
does-
they kind of set the tone for the genre.
Sure, they were
So there were a
definitely the
lot of
kickoff.
bands that came after them. And
Was it them or
Agree with
Green
that.
Day that set the tone
Both.
for that genre?
Both. They both
around the same time.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's arguably Burnout from Green Day got bigger before like Dude Ranch or
Right.
Enema of the State from Blink. Sure,
Right.
but in terms of, but then like so Blink took off, and then American Idiot came out
Mm-hmm.
from Green Day. It was like, holy shit! I remember Green Day won an award for that album that was like best comeback. I'm
Yeah.
like, comeback?
Comeback.
Green Day never went anywhere.
Yeah.
Just because you didn't listen, like they had like Nimrod and International Super Hits, and
Yeah.
it was they had great albums, but
I used to Three Doors Down used to be like one of my faves, but I don't know, man. They're singers and he just-
Trap, dude.
no, it's
Have you
it's
seen-
his political.
That's what I'm saying. Have you seen the guy from Trap? The
Oh
lead singer?
yeah. I
He's
don't
a-
think he's that bad.
He's
but
a trumper
Is
and
he?
like what was his big one? I think he's like a red flag guy with shootings and stuff. So he lost his following.
yeah.
I mean, they had a single, but I mean, it was
They
enough
weren't-
to
yeah.
it was
They
enough
were
to
never
probably get
huge.
people to shows if they wanted to.
Oh,
Now he's
sure.
just lost people.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Yellow Card was always a big one for me. I like them a lot. They broke up, but they're doing a reunion show this year in Chicago. I might go to that.
I remember when they broke up because their drummer, who's fantastic,
He's really good.
was playing for Adam Lambert.
Was he?
I can't remember where I think Adam Lambert played like SNL or something.
Oh.
And that's like, hey, that's the drummer for Yellow Card. You know, I'm like, whatever. You
His
got
name's like
I'll take the job. I would.
Algernon the third something or other.
I'd totally take the job.
He's
but
freaking good though. He's like
Very
Travis Barker good.
See, this is another. I don't fit in because another. I'm just like, you know, one of my other favorite bands of all time is Rush. Rush, without question, is in the top 5.
Yeah.
And that is like, I don't fit in at all. Like almost nobody I know in my age, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's
it's
cool.
true.
A lot of people respect Rush.
I respect.
especially,
I do respect Rush. I sometimes have a hard time with his vocals.
You get, yeah.
They
yeah.
kind of get to me. But Neil Peart is
dude.
unreal.
Yeah.
So.
Notice the similarity between the Darkness and Rush. Not that they're the same, but like you can. But
Sure.
there's nobody else out there sounds like
That's
them,
true.
right?
It's
Yeah.
unique.
I think that I don't know if I like Unique. I think I like what I like, and I just follow the same thing. I'm like, that sounds like that, so I like that.
You're just a sheep.
I
You're
think
just a-
so.
There
I
were
think
some.
so.
That's the thing. Like I like pop punk. Like I love Blink. I love Newfound Glory.
Yeah.
But then there were some pop punk bands that I'm like, I can't.
Can't do this.
I never really got into Yellow Card.
Mm-hmm.
Liked their drummer. Some 41.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like
I like some 41.
Good
Yeah.
Charlotte just made me
Good
angry.
Yeah, not a good Charlotte fan. Yeah.
So I was with you. Like I'm with you in that you're like, well, I kind of like the uniqueness. Even though they're not unique, they were just kind of the first, and so I kind of like them.
So you're like the
Yeah.
OGs of that
Yes.
when it was unique, and then it became like
Right.
it's like the boy band kind of scenario where
Right.
you're like, yeah, everybody like NSYNC, and then there was like 50 of the same kind of band.
right. Like, so another one is like
you don't like NSYNC? Don't scoff
No,
at my
I was
NSYNC comment.
I was just wishing that I would have said my favorite band was like O-Town or
50 whatever
Yeah.
degrees, whatever
Yes.
90 whatever
I
degrees.
forgot
98
about O-Town.
degrees. Yeah, that's what
98
it is.
I
I
forgot
just
about O-Town,
love
dude.
Nick.
Ah, dude.
Like
Nick,
a whole-
what's it? I don't remember. His
Hawthorne
name.
Heights.
Okay.
Is a good like
Yeah.
I like them, and then there was like 50 bands just
Yeah.
like them, you
Yeah.
know. And then their guitarist died, and I think they still tour, but they went through a rough patch.
Without their
Got dropped by their
guitarist?
Doghouse Records. Treated all their artists like shit. Didn't pay them. They all sued them. Like every artist that was on Doghouse. When I was working for X96, they would send us the craziest promos. They were like, each was in an individual bag with like 5 CDs that had like 5 songs from each band in there. No one spent as much money as Doghouse on promos to radio stations, you know? But then you find out they weren't paying their talent at all.
Anything. Ugh,
Oh.
so gross.
Like
man.
I think Hawthorne Heights was on there, Red Jumpsuit Apparatus. All those bands kind of like that.
Yeah.
Kind of hard, a little bit harder than punk, kind of screamo. But
Didn't you guys, as the market, weren't you guys opened for that Hoobastank show out in Saltaire,
Yeah.
right? It was that show. I remember he was like, I don't care how you guys listen to our music, download it, share it, whatever. Come to the show because that's where we make our
no,
money.
it was very well known before the iTunes break,
Uh-huh.
right? And being able to upload your own music. It's very well known that artists were making maybe 25 cents per album
Yeah.
sale.
Yep.
On a $15 album.
Yeah.
You're
It's
making 25
disgusting.
cents.
It's
Now you can
disgusting.
release your own music and
Yeah.
you make dollar for dollar.
Yeah.
So
It's crazy.
You just got to get plays. So
You just got to get
you
find
know,
people to
if
find
we
you.
if we got 1 million plays, we'd have like $3.
right,
Ooh.
at least each.
Yeah.
I don't know how much would we get for 1 million
I
plays.
can't remember what the payout scale is
we'd
now.
have. It would
Because now it's different on streams,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
On downloads, it's like, well, someone still has to pay $15 for the album,
Yeah.
but now it's on streams.
Right. No one buys albums.
I think
anymore.
10 streams is worth 1 purchase, isn't it?
I don't know. That seems high. It's
Like
probably
2 million?
100 streams is
100
worth 1
streams?
purchase. I don't know. We don't make a lot on our streams,
Yeah.
even when we get a decent amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
if
we
you-
normally only make enough to pay for the re-up
every year.
fee that comes up on
Yeah.
that particular song.
Well, I'm happy to help. I will continue to stream your stuff.
We're good. You know, we can just literally set up an iPhone and it
Just
will.
let it play
let it
on
go.
loop.
Yeah, I don't know why I don't do that. Not
That's
that
what
it
we
would
should
ever
do.
make anything, but
Next show we play, everybody get your phone out of your pocket and just hit play, put it back in your pocket while we play.
everyone's. We'll make 10 cents tonight. We'll donate it to. Did we talk about how much money we raised that night?
No.
$100
Nice.
for
Sound better than nothing.
for
It was mental health awareness.
mental health. I don't know.
The
whose
headlining band had
mental
a
health.
charity that they were donating
Oh,
to.
that's right. Or if it was just someone's prescription or something. But we
It's the same.
we
Yeah.
did it.
You know what? Speaking of prescriptions, so I got put on a new med called Buspar
The names of these things is unreal.
for anxiety, so I could take less Klonopin, right? And I was on, I can't even remember the milligrams. Let's just say 10, right?
Yeah.
And it's 2 a day. I went and picked it up last month, and it was like $90. I was like, shit. All right, whatever. I got to have it, you know?
Yeah.
So I went back to the psychiatrist, though, last week, and she wanted to up me. So I went and picked up the larger dose, month supply, $10. Like, what?
Why?
I have no idea.
Is it
Actually
like
went in and picked them
GoodRx
up.
or something?
No.
I don't know. They do weird. So
I'm like, I would have just broken the other ones.
Right.
on my
yeah.
on my diabetes medications, they put me on 3 different medications. 2 of them are $75 each.
Ugh.
And so I paid that for the first month, and then I don't even know why I thought to do this, but I Googled it, and I got to their website, and there's like, sign up for this and get it for $10.
Right, you take
so
the
I
coupon
picked
in?
both of them up yesterday, $10 each.
Absolute joke.
So, yeah.
Did you
I
guys
hate
see
it.
the thing that Mark Cuban's doing?
Nah.
Yeah, it's like a thing he started putting a bunch of money towards of selling pharmaceuticals, but only I don't remember what it was, something like a 15% markup max. He was like, we will buy it at the cost and we will only mark it up 15% just to pay for the administrative stuff at all. So he's like, this is not like a money maker at all, and it was amazing. There was stuff on there that would be like $1,000 that he was able to sell for like $150.
You should call it Cuban drugs.
Cuban. Oh man. That is a missed opportunity
I know,
right there.
I don't know what the general consensus is, but I like Mark Cuban.
I like Mark Cuban. I think
Out
as
of
a
all the
whole-
billionaires,
If
Yeah.
he ran for president, I might vote for
I
him.
think he's as a whole, he feels like the most sincerely just decent dude. I listen to the Dan Patrick Sports Show all the time, and he's been a buddy of his, and he's been on there a bunch of times. And that was one. He was like, Dan Patrick was like, "How much is in your checking account right now?" And he just started laughing, and he was like, "I can't tell you." He was like, "Why not?" He was like, "I actually looked, and he was like, I had to call my accountant and say, what am I going to do with all this money?" And he was like, "What are you doing right now?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm waiting in the pickup line to pick up my kids from school."
Yeah.
Because he's like, I'm still living normal life.
right?
So, and I just think he's probably the most in touch.
He is probably the most down to earth out of all the billionaires.
Yeah, Bill Gates doesn't even know how much like a bag of
Yeah,
Well-
$15 or
Yeah.
whatever.
It's like the ravioli.
yeah, I don't know, $30.
But he's also been a billionaire a lot longer.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
He was a billionaire before,
Before being a billionaire was
Or is
cool.
the thing. Yeah.
in the 90s, man. Windows 98, 95 came out.
How about your boy Elon trying to get out of Twitter?
You know, I saw a TikTok of a guy who predicted it.
Yeah.
And he was defending himself because he was getting a bunch of comments like, "Why do you hate Elon?" You know, and he's like, "Because Elon never keeps any promises. You know, he's promised to do thing after thing and never delivers on them."
Right.
So, I saw another. The Chinese are investigating ways to shoot down Starlink.
Why?
I have no idea. I'm like, what is that going to result in?
Yeah.
Like, where's that end? You know, does the United States government get involved if they shoot down private satellites? I don't know how
That's a
this
good
ends.
question. Yeah, I'd hope that they wouldn't. I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
people hate Starlink, but it's also giving internet to people
Yep.
in like Ukraine
yep.
Why do
So-
people hate Starlink?
because it ruins the night sky. It's just kind of
Does it?
cluttering.
I
Yeah,
thought you could only see it really when it
no, it's
when
like
it first was unraveled.
well, no. So the first like few hundred he sent up, they were just normal like silver colored.
oh,
And they were ruining astronomers' photographs. So you'd see like a streak, and you can see Starlink. You'll see like 20 dots going across the sky.
Yeah.
But then he made a pledge to paint them all black.
Oh.
I don't know if he did, but he launches them in like
just spray paint.
he launches like 100 at a time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, he's spray
good.
painted all black.
Be very expensive spray paint.
But
I don't. I also see like the only reason somebody should be really mad about that is that they didn't think of it first. Like
Right.
the fact that we haven't just done this as a society is mind-boggling, right? Why does it take some like independently wealthy person to just be like, well, let's do something that makes sense for society?
right,
I wish more billionaires would do that.
I wish
it-
so too.
Probably because it was a billionaire's idea,
Right,
right?
yeah.
If you went into a billionaire's office and said, "Free internet for the entire world,"
Yeah.
we got to launch 5,000 satellites, they'd be
Yeah.
like, get out of my office. What's in it for me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Free advertising. Every time someone logs in, it says your name or something. Anyway, speaking of Ukraine, you have a prediction in here, Spencer.
Oh yeah, I forgot I put that. So the war in Ukraine is still going on.
Yeah.
And,
have they gotten to Kyiv yet? They still haven't gotten to
I
Kyiv.
don't think so.
No, I don't know that they've made most of their progress has
What
been.
is wrong with Russia's military?
They're in
They're
all sincerity,
completely inept.
they're
man.
not as good as people thought they were. If you go back to World War II, they were almost completely wiped out
It's
in
true.
World War II before they got stalled. Right, well, the Nazis got stalled and it got too cold and all that.
Right, Stalingrad.
and then Stalingrad, and then America had to come in and basically save everybody's tail, which we were just kind of lucky that we were fresh.
If you look
right?
at troop deaths, though,
Yeah.
Russia lost more by a factor of 3.
Yeah.
Right.
They
Well,
they
but-
lost so many more troops.
Well, yeah, but which kind of is still to the point. You're just like,
Right.
what have they done that has made anybody really sincerely think, boy, they're really strong, other than just
Other than a
the
nuke.
yeah, they have the thing,
They have a nuke.
but that doesn't mean that they're good. They just happen to steal
They're all-
information.
Can you imagine
and
they're all
got it.
duds?
Yeah,
Like this
Like,
badass rocket takes it all the way in. It's like
yeah.
skunk.
haven't they had something like
It
14 generals die
wouldn't
in this whole thing? Like,
die. Yeah,
Well, but
yeah.
still, like, it really should be.
If you consider hanging a death, I mean,
It should be like an eye opener to all of us to be like, is Russia really this thing we should be scared about still?
I don't.
I,
well,
honestly,
I
I
don't
think
so, but
I think you're right though, because they could have no troops left, but as
Yeah.
long as they have a silo,
Then
we're scared.
Then it's scared. Yep.
well, that's kind of my prediction. Is we were the U.S. was not going to get into World War II, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were just like, we can't do that, even though we certain political figures wanted to get into World War II. They could not pull the trigger until Pearl Harbor happened.
Then you don't have a choice.
And I just my prediction would be that if Ukraine keeps holding out and Putin gets frustrated and more people start joining NATO, that he's going to do something like Pearl Harbor, except it's going to be a nuclear Pearl Harbor.
So he'll nuke a NATO nation.
I think he'll just nuke Ukraine somewhere. Not a big. I'm not talking about
Not the Tsar bomb.
He'll,
though.
No.
he'll send the mini nuke.
Yeah. But if he does, in my opinion, maybe I'm completely wrong, but if he lets off any nukes, everyone's in.
over.
We're all in. We
Yep.
are all in to stop
It's over.
Russia. Like, no one's going to stand for that. I mean, am I wrong? Like,
Well, no one. It depends on who you're talking about. Iran would love it.
Yep.
China
would be okay
Pakistan
with
would be okay with it.
China's not. China's backing away from Russia.
I don't.
China,
I don't,
Not that they're buddies, but
I don't
like,
think China would care.
China
Yeah.
has more to lose from losing us and
China-
the rest of the world.
China
as
only
partners.
cares about what's good for China.
Right.
Yeah.
They're not going to get involved in
And
anything.
frankly, Russia doesn't do as much for China as the rest of the world does.
No.
I'm just thinking along the lines that they're more buddy than we are with them essentially. But
Sure.
yeah,
It's
Especially
because-
from a policy
it's
standpoint.
because
Uh-huh.
it's because Putin wants to be socialist and China is socialist, sort of.
Communist.
Whatever they are.
yeah, more
Yeah, they're like a democratic communist society.
Yeah, dude, I don't understand.
They're
how
co-
it-
A capitalist communist.
I was gonna
it's
say they're-
communism where some people are capitalists.
where the
and-
capitalists make money and the
They're-
communists
yeah.
are poor.
yeah,
communists
something
on
like that.
capitalists'
Yeah,
money.
and Walmart's there, so I don't know.
Yep.
Apparently, the new McDonald's in Russia has the same M,
Yeah.
like same logo.
Well, yeah, Russia's. I was looking at. I was
Capitalism is
looking
king,
at.
man.
I was looking at one of their new airplanes that they're trying to put out, and it looks exactly like the F-35. Like they just.
They should paint F-35 on it.
Yeah, like
literally
it's like
steal it.
pretty much looks exactly the same. It's like, come on, guys.
Yeah. Well, to your point though, I get really frustrated. This is where like I just find myself getting so mad at our government as a whole because like we are sending billions of dollars over. Not that we shouldn't be helping, but who else is putting that much skin in the game?
No one.
Well, I mean,
And
it's,
is that not a problem to anybody? Like,
I
am I
think-
off base? Because that
no,
drives me crazy.
But other countries are. We just have more skin than most countries.
do we though?
What do
We're-
you mean by skin?
We're so
We have-
wildly in debt. We can't.
No,
we're
but
never. Gonna
we
come
have
back
more
out of this.
military assets. We have stuff built ready to go
Sure,
that we're not currently using.
sure.
So send some Stinger missiles over.
So then we're spending $40 billion more that we don't have, that we're borrowing from China to go send over there. Like, am I wrong? Like, I mean, think about the problems that we have in our country as a whole. And I'm not saying that we should not be helping Ukraine. Do not misinterpret
No,
that.
but I mean,
like,
our defense budget shouldn't be what it is
Yeah.
anyway.
Can we not just
Right.
go, hey, we are willing to put this much in, but Germany, you need to help it out too. Great Britain, you need to help out too.
I
Like we
haven't-
should be doing when
Yeah.
there's it's like 1% in comparison to what
Is it?
we're
I was
getting.
going to say I haven't looked at what because so that would be similar to the NATO rules, right?
Correct.
You're expected to put in 3% of your GDP, I
yeah,
think.
something like that. Yeah.
And which ours is like off the charts
Sure.
compared to the other NATO nations. So I haven't looked at what they're donating to Ukraine.
It was
relative, but
2 to 3 million is what Germany gave last I read. This was like a month ago.
dollars.
$1 million. Yeah. Like when we
That's,
were
that's enough to
proposing
ship a suit.
Yes, we were proposing 40 billion and Germany had given like something like $2 to $3 million. And I'm like that is not even close
That's
to the
embarrassing.
same
Yeah.
percentage wise. So why do we have to keep being the world police?
You know that
It's literally going to be the end of us.
when the Iraq War was raging, I got in a discussion with a friend, and that was kind of the fundamental disagreement that people stumble onto, right? You're more of a libertarian, then you have hardcore conservatives, liberals, and one of the main disagreements, and unfortunately it kind of depends on who you're talking about,
Sure.
is does the United States have a responsibility as a superpower to police the world? Do they have a responsibility to do it? Do they have a right to do it? Where do you fall on that? And that's usually where you find people disagree.
Yep.
Some people are like, no, it's not our responsibility at all. We should mind our own business. You're like, all right, but what if it becomes our business? Sure. The way that Pearl Harbor made it our business. You
Sure.
know?
Right.
Yeah.
But-
but why was Pearl Harbor even a thing? Is because we got involved with the oil with Japan. Right? Because our fingers are in everything.
Right.
Like, and not that we can ever become truly neutral. Like, it's impossible.
No, we're just too
But
big.
We're too big. Yeah.
As much as someone like Alex Jones doesn't want it, we are a globalist economy.
It's true.
Like
we rely on everybody, which if you ever didn't believe that was true, COVID showed that to be wildly true.
Right.
One little domino falls and the whole freaking thing is jacked up. We live on the razor's edge in our economy and our society, and it totally taught us that the last couple of
Right.
years. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of politics, you got your Republican ballot,
I
as did I.
I did. Did you get it?
I did.
Did you?
I
Both of
did.
us registered as Republicans.
You
to,
guys cheating the system.
Just barely. Who's cheating who?
I'm
freaking.
being more facetious.
I know.
Actually,
I
I saw a thing today from a political commentator.
Uh-huh.
That apparently, they can get a Republican ballot till like the 17th of June.
So,
Oh,
yeah,
I thought that
yeah.
it had changed.
I thought it was till March, like the end of March when we got ours. You know what I mean? When we changed our affiliation.
I thought they changed the rules or something again. I don't know.
I thought
I thought they
something
made
about
it
registering
harder.
for the 17th. I don't
Yeah.
know what. Yeah, I don't know
Anyway.
what that entails.
So you still can. And that we can swing this primary. Have you seen the polling between
I dropped mine off
McMullen and Lee?
yesterday.
No, I haven't. I just know that Lee is hard trying to hit McMullen.
So-
that's all the stuff I see. on
McMullen
TV.
hasn't even spent any money yet.
Yeah,
Because
and Lee
he
is really hitting him.
he won the prime. There's
Yeah.
no one. He's uncontested.
Yeah, yeah.
But I saw a Deseret News poll. I think it was 3 days old. That said, if it was right now, and they were comparing all Lee and his candidates to McMullen separately, right? So they're like, if it was Lee and McMullen, or Lee and Edwards, or Lee and what the hell is her name, Isom, and dude, actually the only one who won straight out was actually Isom, because there were more I don't knows on that hypothetical.
How do you
But
not know?
Lee and McMullen, I think Lee had him by one. It was like 38 to 37 with 19%. I don't know. I was like, whoa!
It's the fastest growing demographic in the country right now. Is that in between?
It's like, holy
How don't
cow!
you know, man?
That's what I said. That's what I was like. I don't know.
Mike Lee is
Well,
he's a freaking fascist. He's a traitor.
So
He's a
it's true, and
he's a
we're gonna find
proven-
out more.
He's a
Yeah.
proven traitor, man.
We're gonna find out
and
more.
he's just ugly as.
You say
He
it
looks
every
like a frog. He's so ugly.
The
I hate him so much.
one of the main reasons I have a problem with him, other than
His
January
obvious
6th, well, even just from a policy standpoint, he ran on a platform of 2 terms.
Two only. Yeah.
You know, same with Orrin Hatch. So
Orange
anyway,
Hatch is
but
dead.
we got our ballot. You text me, who should I vote for? I hadn't looked to see what the polling was because obviously you want to vote for who's closest to beating him,
Right,
which is Edwards.
right.
But that led me down some research about our House race.
Okay,
So I have a story about Blake Moore, who
How
is
do-
our representative right
Currently.
now.
right.
Okay? His mom, my parents have a big yard in
Your mom.
Kaysville,
Okay.
right? Your mom.
I couldn't help it.
They have a big yard in Kaysville. They put signs up for candidates who usually come and ask them, depending on their politics.
And it's it's like at a very visible,
right, like 50,000
huge
people a day,
intersection.
probably.
Yeah, for sure.
So Blake Moore's mom came over and asked my dad. My dad was in the yard, and he's
Uh-huh.
like, "Can my son put a sign up?" And he's like, "Who's your son?" Blake Moore. Well, what are his politics? What's his policy? You know? And she said, "Well, essentially all he's trying to do, he just goes and opposes anything Nancy Pelosi puts forward."
I'm for that.
I'm like, I'm not for any blanket statement like that. And unfortunately, the Republicans tend to do that. They did that when Obama was elected. Mitch McConnell said, "We're just going to oppose everything he says, regardless of if we like it or not." But so he's like, "Oh, you know, my mom or my wife kind of makes those decisions." And they put a sign in their yard, and they took
Really?
it down 3 times. My parents took it down.
They kept putting it back up?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
So anyway, that's my Blake Moore story. Okay. Then I came across an article that showed one of his opponents, Andrew Badger, and their debate.
I like his logo. It's got a badger on it.
So I was reading an article about their debate, and I'm like, come on. I mean, I'm not a Republican. I don't want to vote for any of you, but I don't like Moore, right? So come on, Andrew, say something valuable, right? And his campaign against Blake Moore is that Blake Moore buys into the climate change narrative.
It's not enough. You're not going to swing voters with that.
But I'm like, that's your campaign?
That's weak.
You live in a state where the lake is drying up. We're going to have arsenic in the air. And you're saying that he shouldn't buy. First of all, Blake Moore doesn't buy into the climate change narrative, but that's your camp. Like you're already getting Republican votes.
Yeah.
You don't need to.
What's wrong with his
This,
arm?
yeah, this is not. That's ill-advised, I would say.
So I'm like these primaries. Like I know that when we got our ballots, when we did this on purpose, it was to mostly get Mike Lee out. But oh man, it's like, well, I don't want to cast a vote for any of these
Looks
guys.
like a real douche.
And I didn't hear much of Tina. I think it's the other.
Well,
person
I
running.
realized after Mike Lee that it was just a primary and that I really didn't care about the rest, so I just kind of filled in whatever.
Well, listen, if Becky Edwards can win the primary,
Right, I put in for Becky Edwards.
that's a win-win-win. Like,
What if she turns out to be as bad as what's her the Gazpacho and
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
What did I say?
Well,
that
she's
she
running
said
for
last
Senate,
time?
so she'd be more powerful.
Yeah.
She is. Wait. Oh.
If Becky won.
Okay. Not Marjorie Taylor.
I don't know how Marjorie
And her
wins votes.
peach tree dish. That
Because-
tells you about the peach tree dish, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, she's
Like,
so stupid.
If the Republicans don't take back the House, and even if they do, I'm not entirely
Look at
sure
it- look at this.
that they would appoint Marjorie to any committees.
No, I think as a whole, she's
Like-
very unliked.
She has no committee power right now.
Yeah.
If the Democrats win, she still will have no committee
Yeah.
power.
For whoever people like her in the area she's in. I
crazy,
don't know
man.
why she is a little off. She's crazy.
Look, it's a picture of Mike Lee. I'm Mike Lee, and I have erectile dysfunction.
So I have this is a stupid story, but I have a Mike Lee story that I was listening to.
Got no chin.
I was listening to a news
Or
radio
soul.
show. They were listening to a
Oh,
radio
look at him
show.
running!
Oh my gosh.
Look at him running! Oh my gosh, he looks so bloated.
All right, Chick, go ahead.
It's fine. This is irrelevant, really. There was a radio show, listening to the radio show, and they were talking about this book that was called Written Out of History, and it was all about people who were a huge part of history, but that history for some reason is never told. I'm like, this is amazing. So I went to look it up. It was written by Mike Lee, and I was like,
It's like you see a cool title, it's written by Bill O'Reilly. You're like, oh,
I have one at the Killing Kennedy.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty.
I
okay.
want to know if he writes them.
He doesn't. It's his name. I actually did a lot of reading up on it because I wanted the Killing Kennedy one bad because I just was super intrigued.
So he
And
just
I was
puts his name there?
"Ugh." So he actually does a lot of the research on it. It's pretty legit. But he has a writer who writes it. They have come under some fire for some stuff, but like every.
I wonder if
book
about how
does,
Jake
like, to a
Jake
certain
Tapper's
degree.
book is.
Oh, I
Because he
don't
wrote
know.
that. Made a really good movie.
Mhm.
Was it The Outpost? It's about a like an operating base in Afghanistan that got overrun because they were on at the bottom of a hill. So
It's a bad
the
place.
Afghans had, or the ISIS had. Yeah. Anyway, it's a really good movie, but it was written by Jake Tapper. The book was.
Yeah.
So I'm
What
just
was it
curious.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they basically have
None of
like
those people write
if
their
you
own
were a
books.
really good writer and I did all the research, it would be like me coming to you with all the research, telling you the story, and you'd put the writing in your own words,
Right.
kind of thing. Yeah,
Like any of those guys have time to write books.
I know.
Well, you know, last time we talked a lot about school shootings.
Yeah.
Those are always fun
Speaking
Yay.
of which,
to talk about.
Yippee.
we'll have Jake give his 2 cents here, but I did a little research. How many mass shootings? Well, let's see if you guys agree with their definition first, okay?
No, it's
This-
gun violence is the term they use now more often than not. But
Sure. This website is 4 or more injured or killed, not including the shooter.
okay, so that would be more. Correct.
That's how they
Gun-
define it.
Okay,
How many mass shootings this year do you think there have been?
This year,
This year, with 4 or more injured or killed, besides not including the shooter.
50.
I would say like 85.
261.
Yeah. So you also have to account in for,
Closest without going over.
$1.
major gang violence in Chicago and like stuff like that happens all the time.
I
in
drove
some
through
of these-
Chicago and did not see a single shooting.
that day or that hour.
So-
like, and this is not to justify it by any means.
No.
Like, it's bad, but like that
So
also
I thought about
includes
that.
a lot of that.
I thought about that, and Illinois has had 19.
Chicago is just a random example.
Chicago has had by itself
So it's like what, less than
11,
10%.
12, 13, 14, 15. Chicago's had 15 out of the 262.
That's way less than 10%. I was way off.
Texas has had 26. California's had 25. Those are very populous states. So
Yeah.
it's true, but it just speaks to the problem.
Yeah, and there was another thing
That's
I saw.
more than days.
They were like, oh, yeah, for sure. Or there was
So-
another one where they were like, because gun violence is the term that they're using a lot now. And it actually kind of bugs me because I actually did a lot of reading on this the last couple of weeks because it really was intriguing. I saw a news reporter say, he said, I was just doing the research on it, and that there were, I don't remember what the number was, but percentage wise, a teenager in America has a higher chance of getting shot than a soldier did in Iraq or Afghanistan over the last like 10 years.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was like, hold on, is that true? Well, also come to find out, America is the only country that qualifies suicide by gun as gun violence. And so our data is actually mega skewed in comparison, which is why I'm glad that you brought up the fact that it's 4+, because that would not include a suicide.
Yeah, these
and
guys-
so America's the only one that does that.
This one has something on suicides here. Suicides are collected through the CDC, but it's just an aggregate number. There's no detail because
Yeah.
of privacy.
Yeah.
But as someone familiar with suicide and how people choose to do it, there's a stat out there that if you can delay suicide by like, I want to say it was 3 minutes, but even if you call it 5,
Yep.
that you're like 90%
Yeah.
less likely to happen,
Did you
which
see
could be 5 minutes of digesting pills,
Sure.
right? And then
Yeah.
so it just makes an argument for securing guns, laws that secure guns.
Sure. Oh, and that's, I'm not to say that's not the one thing. Did you see the suicide hotline changed? Now it's I don't remember what it is, but it's instead of the full number, it's like a 3-digit
I
number.
know that
Yeah,
was in
that's
the
awesome.
process. They
I
finally
thought
got
it
that
became
taken care of.
official.
Yeah, we talked about that. Let's see if I
It was
can find
going to happen, but I saw something about it being official or going. to
Last
be
time
soon.
I heard, it sounded like it was going to take way longer than something like that should take to do.
It feels like it should be done overnight.
Oh,
I mean,
9
something like a suicide hotline. Who's going to be like, 800? What, like,
Yeah.
It's long. Yeah, 988.
Yeah, 988.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. I mean, you should have that kind of thing.
So anyway, you are a teacher in the public school system.
Correct. Future assistant to the vice president, or how did we?
Assistant to the vice
Assistant
Assistant
to the
vice
assistant vice principal.
Yeah. And I talked about on last show how I actually emailed Quinn's principal
Yeah.
about securing the door to the office, which is the only unlocked door. And he emailed me right away and said it's actually been budgeted. We just have to
Good for him.
get it installed.
Yep.
Which he said it should be done by the beginning of next school year.
Yeah.
But tell us what you have going on. What's been put in place.
I mean, like as I listened to that episode, I just kept thinking, like, I wonder if the average person knows to what extent teachers and educators as a whole are going through every day to try and help prevent these things, right? And that because like both physically and then also like the mental and emotional aspect of what we do as educators. And so so true context. So I've been a special education teacher for the last 6 years. I've run the special education department for the last 4, and I'm currently next year going to be it's an administrative intern is the term they use, which to the rest of the world I'm an assistant principal. On the books financially I'm still a teacher because they can, and then if they like me then I can get an approval from my principal, and then I can apply to be a full-time assistant principal.
If they don't have to demote you.
I can stay as intern for another year. Sometimes, and it's possible you'll stay as an intern for sometimes more than a year, because if there's just no openings, then there's no openings or whatever.
But you're paid.
But I'm paid. Yeah, I'm paid my normal wage plus a little bit more. But so anyway, so just some context, I think. So like our school was built. So I was at a school called Clearfield High School, and it was now the second oldest school in the district. And they did not think about these things when they built schools in the 70s.
No,
there are doors everywhere. You have to go outside of one building to go into the next building. It's incredible. It's like they just definitely didn't think it through. And so when we're talking like security, like how do we block all these doors? What can you possibly do? Because you have to go into the gym, which is out the building, out across the parking lot. I mean,
so if someone wanted to come in, they could just
do that. Yeah.
Right.
So then it was like, all right, so we have every door locked for the whole day except for one door that goes to the front office, but it doesn't even go into the front office. It goes into the front foyer, which can then get you into the office. So they had to put these like the magnetic locks on all the doors with a key card. So all teachers have a key card that can buzz in and get in. And then at that front door, you have to push the button, and then there's a camera, and the camera then goes to the main office. And then they're like, "Hey, what are you here for?" And if it's a student, the student has to show a badge. And if it's like a parent, then they have to explain why, and then they come into the office. So like we started this process like 3 years ago, and it just became official this year. So then you can put in the schedule, so it'll unlock all doors 5 minutes before the bell rings, and then lock all doors 5 minutes after the bell rings, right? So there's still a lot of openings that are potentially there.
I wish they could just lock when they shut. You know?
Yeah, they do. So
okay.
like if I were to key in on any of the doors, and then the moment it clicks behind me, it's done until somebody else keys in. But they can't. They have to open up all the doors for like class exchange.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So that's what we're saying when we do that. So but even then, so it's like interesting because we can do everything we want to do, but this like mind-blowing thing that was brought up that I hadn't really thought of is every year, at least once, I think we did it 2 to 3 times this year. I want to say legally we have to do it twice now that I'm thinking about it. So we'll do active shooter drills, right? So as a school, we'll all be told a day before in advance or 2 days before in advance, hey, everybody, just so you know, during third period, at the end of third period, we're going to not move into the next class. We're going to announce a lockdown. So what we do is everybody has to shut the lights off, lock the door, get the kids as far away from the front door or far away from windows.
Do you have the tape?
We have magnets, so my door stays locked all the time. Or what are you talking
like
about?
the tape that defines, it's the line where someone could see through the window.
Oh no, I don't.
We talked about that when we talked about Parkland a couple years ago. That they used in some schools they were putting down like masking tape, which
like
behind that line you couldn't see through the window of the door.
No, I don't have that. I have what I thought you were talking about. So my door stays locked all the time. All of our doors stay locked all the time, and they give us these magnet strips that go in front of the door so that it'll like you pull it open and close all the time. But then if they come over and they say lockdown, you just have to walk over, pull the magnet, and shut the door. And so you're not like fumbling for keys and trying to lock your door and stuff like that. So so we do that on all the doors.
How long would that take you? So that would secure the door, like you couldn't push it.
My door would be locked completely. 20 seconds tops for me to walk from where my desk was to there, pull the strip, shut it. You know, not it's like nothing at all. And so all the doors have that, and then we have to go lights out, phones off, quiet, dead silent, and then they have a police officer. They have multiple. They'll probably have like 6 or 7 police officers that will go around with either a counselor and administrator, and they walk over and they will pound on your door. Police, open up, open up, open up. Come. You're like, come to the door. And you have to be silent. So you have to train the kids day one, we go through like active shooter drills. This is what we do. And then I refresh them every term at the beginning because you have kids that'll shuffle around. And so I'll say, it's like, this is a no joke time. Like, if we're going to do this in a drill, you have to be silent. No giggles, no nothing. This is for real. And the police officers, they do what they can to make it feel real, right? Police, open up. And then I just tell the kids, like, shh, don't say, don't talk, right? You have to sit there quietly. And then they'll unlock the door and they'll say, good job. And then they move on to the next door, and then you can hear them down the hall, boom, 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 and they're just doing it for, it takes probably 20 minutes to clear the whole building. So we do that every, about once a semester or so, and it's just like, so I don't know, like, I don't know how, like, my wife came to me yesterday actually, and she was like, "All right, am I overthinking this? Do we need to get one of those bulletproof backpacks for Olivia because she's going to kindergarten next year?" And I was like, I get why you think that, but I will tell you, as an educator in the system, no, because I refuse to believe that we should all go to school with that kind of fear, especially knowing that the inside people are doing everything they can to try and prevent it. But here's the thing. Every one of these shooters the last couple of years, they've been through these active shooter drills.
Right.
They know what people are being taught.
Right.
They know what the kids are being taught. And that was weird to me. That gives me chills to say that.
Yeah.
And so, but
and it's not a pragmatic thing. Like Quinn was just in kindergarten, right? And the first thing she does when she gets to school is takes her backpack off and hangs it on the hook.
Exactly.
Yep. So unless you're going to wear a vest all day,
it's not there. And then, but another thing, and it was like, I thought I want to kind of just like tell some of these stories to just say some of these you probably knew and you probably know that we do these things. But then there's also things out there that I don't think people know that I've watched happen live. It was like the craziest out-of-body experience. The day after the shooting in Texas, I'm standing in the office and we have our end-of-year assembly. We're going to have like 1,000 kids in this auditorium, which post-COVID still feels weird.
Right.
Right. Which I say post-COVID, we're still like
still
exploding.
there, but
But like post the shutdowns. So, and I'm standing in the office, and you guys ever hear of the Safe UT app? So in Utah, we have an app, and we encourage kids all the time to use it. Safe UT, it's an anonymous way to give some sort of tip if something had happened. And a student that I was aware of came through as potentially suicidal thoughts and tendencies. So they're like, okay, well, let's call parents and let's see what's going on. The one administrator jumps on the phone. And she's like, hey, starts talking to the guardian, and the other person comes running down the hall, this other administrator, and because I don't have the access, I wasn't hired yet, I don't have the access to their side, comes running down the hall, and he said it was a typo, potential homicidal thoughts. Shit. And so then it was boom, and it was like, you're calling the police officer, or you're calling the local police for where the kid lived. You're gonna, and like, you need to go get the school officer right now. Yeah. You're on the phone with, where is he? And it was just like everything. And the principal was like, people are worried about so many things. I just need to make sure nobody dies today, as he walked into his office.
Yeah.
And it was just like this very real moment of like, what the did I get myself into? I'm going to be doing. But then it was also a comfort, as weird as that is, to know that there was a system in place, that it was tipped, and that it was all hands on deck, and everybody had been trained and knew what to do.
Right. No, so, I in principle, I hate active shooter drills.
100%.
But, when I was in elementary, we did earthquake drills.
Yep.
You know? But, I would actually feel better if lockdowns were almost like a fire alarm in each classroom. Like a button you'd push and all the doors would just lock.
Boop. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure it would get pulled, just like a fire alarm gets pulled.
Yeah.
But I would feel better about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you get shot from the hallway and you can't do it, another teacher could hear the shot and hit the lockdown and would lock your door for you. You know what I mean?
They have something kind of like that there's a new elementary that was just built that I did my pre-intern hours at before I graduated last year. That they have something like that where they have, theirs are like in pods, and they can shut down whole pods.
All right.
And so they can do something similar to that. But the hard part is, and this is like even a bigger like can of worms, the education system as a whole is crumbling as far as financially. We are, I can see exposed wires in my ceiling in my room, and I'm like, what are we going to do? We're going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to upgrade these systems, and it's just
according to
super
Ted
hard.
Cruz, it'd be easy, right?
Oh, freaking disgusting.
But that's why I called the principal and said, look, I will start a fundraiser and or just pay for it.
Yeah,
I can't imagine it's that expensive for one door.
One door.
So But
Yeah,
I hear you.
But it was just like, I guess, like I said, don't want to repeat myself too much, but I thought, like, I guess to me, my hope would be that if somebody is listening to this who has a kid who's going to school, I would hope that you would know, rest assured, every adult in that building is constantly thinking about this. I set my room up when I was teaching with this in mind. Right. It's constantly thought of. I always knew how many doors I had between me and the outside because that's just the way you think. Right. I always had to think that way.
It's terrible.
It is terrible,
Yeah.
but it's the way that I was trained to think that way. Like I was taught that. And then, and then also, and like, boy, this is like, so the whole, like, we should arm teachers.
I was just going to ask you, like,
Yeah.
about yours and maybe the prevailing opinion amongst your colleagues.
Don't, like, it's not so Utah, actually, I like the way Utah does. I don't know if you guys know the Utah rule. So the Utah law is that you are able to, but you're not required to, right? And then so in Utah, if you have a concealed carry, you can carry as a teacher. It is a gun-free zone except for if you're concealed carry. And I know teachers who do carry, and you're just not allowed to be off of your body, period. That's the rule. And I'm okay with that. Because assuming they've kept up on anyway, you're supposed to go through this concealed carry class. Like it's more than just like, oh, I just went and bought a gun and I keep it in my desk, right? Which is what 90% of the teachers would do if we forced teachers to be armed. You know.
Do you know what the rules are for, like how the gun operates? Like, is it loaded? Is it 3 steps away? Do you know?
In Utah, it doesn't matter if you're concealed carry. You can be one in the chamber ready to go. Like, and
so it's the same for teachers.
If you open carry in Utah, it has to be 2 steps from fire, right? And so, but in Utah, as a teacher, you can carry. So it's I'm okay with that. I'm a pro gun person as a whole. I've reevaluated very deeply my thoughts on things over the last couple of weeks and months and even years, and I think I'm libertarian as a lot, but like I'm definitely not libertarian when it comes to guns because they're like, oh well, that's the consequence of guns. And I'm like, hold on, that's too much.
You have to. It's like as a libertarian, you still have to weigh the rights of victims,
correct,
with the rights of the people.
Yeah, when your freedom overlaps my freedom, we have a conflict.
Right.
That's where we have some sort of government to help oversee that.
I saw a comment on TikTok. The guy's like, nope, I don't care if there's 5,000 victims of gun violence. I'm not giving up my rights. I'm like, 5,000? There's way fucking more than 5,000.
Yeah.
There's been like 45,000 this year.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Yeah, but to me, I look at it and I say, if a teacher wants to carry and they go through the process to carry, I'm fine with that. And it is like it is a don't ask, don't tell kind of situation too. You don't have to tell anybody that you're carrying. And I don't think I would want people to know that I carry.
No, and as a parent of a student, I wouldn't want my kid to see it. Like all these recommendations of like armed guards.
Yeah.
I'm like, at a fucking school?
Yep.
No, I don't want my daughter to go to school and some dude chilling with a vest.
I know.
And some like tactical smoke grenade.
Right.
With his hand on the, you know what I mean?
We're
Like
not
just
going to school for war.
Come on.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I posted on Facebook the day after the shooting and it actually got a lot of heat from a buddy of mine, and it really kind of bugged me because the point was totally missed. It was like, in my experience, schools always have a full-time police officer, but I had a part-time school psychologist and no social worker.
Right. Right.
So, I mean, let's talk about how we're spending our funds and helping these
you
kids.
keep preaching about mental health, but won't do anything about it.
But you won't do anything about it.
And
Yeah.
by the way, I do need another retraction. This one wasn't my fault. The Uvalde
never
Police
his fault.
Department lied about the teacher who left the door open.
Yeah.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, she did have it propped, but she saw the shooter and kicked the rock and pulled the door closed.
It didn't click,
It didn't latch locked,
Yep.
according to the police department
Yep.
still. But at least they walked. She got an attorney. This teacher got an attorney.
Good for her.
To speak out on her behalf, saying, I did not leave that door propped. They didn't even say whether or not he used that door.
No.
They just said that it didn't lock properly when it closed.
It was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen, them trying to use that as the excuse. Like, what about the fact that, and I don't know what they've come down to, but the average number I've heard is 45 minutes, but up to 90 minutes of sitting back and doing nothing.
Well,
whole disgusting.
Or like in the hallway.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Or saving their own kids.
Which I heard mixed reports on that story.
Did you hear the cops saving their own kids?
Yeah, the one guy was it was like he was off duty and he ran in.
Sure.
Like, so he wasn't like an on duty guy. This is what I heard. Either way, terrible.
I don't blame them.
No.
Right? But I also like there was a woman who is all over the news now
She ran in.
that she was arrested
Yeah.
and then they let her go and she ran in.
Yep.
You know, so it's like if you get to do it, then they should be able to get to do it.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
But so now we still don't really know. I haven't seen a definitive like outline of what door he went in.
Yeah.
Like you can see there's a classroom drawing, but you're still like, I don't know what that doesn't show me what door he went into to get inside the school.
Yeah.
But they totally just destroyed this woman's life.
Feels like there's like a major cover-up situation happening. From
Like
them.
the Texas Department of Public Safety is at complete odds with the Uvalde Police Department.
Terrible, man.
So
To me, it's like it totally. I used to be good guy with a gun over a bad guy with a gun. I used to be that guy. I used to be like, yeah, which I still believe to be true in this house right now. If somebody were to come try and push through your door, right, and one of us happened to be carrying, that might be a reasonable argument. But you just had dozens of good guys with a gun standing there doing nothing with one bad guy with a gun. Your argument is now gone.
I mean, I said this on the last show. I continue to also think that, let's say you were carrying, right? You get your door locked, you get the kids back in the corner, you're standing or sitting in front of them telling them to be quiet, and you're holding a gun.
Correct.
What are the chances of you getting shot?
It's hairy.
Right?
Hairy, yeah.
When the cop breaks down that door.
Correct.
You know?
Yep.
And if you're standing in front of the kids, what's the chance of one of them getting shot? Which there's also reports that Uvalde Police Department shot a kid on accident.
Yep.
They still haven't said whether or not that was true.
Yeah, I would
So-
intentionally not stand in front of my kids.
Right.
I would not that I wouldn't.
If you were armed, right?
Not that I wouldn't take a bullet for one of my kids.
Sure.
Right. Like, it is my job to protect them. But it's actually these are the things you think about. I actually think about that I would try and be the first thing they saw in an effort
next
to
to the
try
door.
and,
Yeah.
an effort to try and break.
Well, the other thing that's scary, like some schools, it's brick walls, and then a solid wood door or metal, and some are like just that partition stuff. It's like, well, they could shoot through that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Have you seen the new Farmington High School down?
Well, yes, I haven't been inside.
Every classroom is all glass. It's 3 walls, and then the 4th wall is pure glass wall.
Is it mesh?
It's all. It's what is it?
Tempered?
Yeah, it's tempered. So
but it's not meshed.
They've done tests on it. Like, to bash it would take forever to get through.
But it's not
like
bulletproof.
It's not bulletproof. And
That'd be way too expensive.
The fact that we have to. The moment I saw that new building, and I was like, that somebody could shoot right through that, and I was like, that's a problem. I can't. Why am I thinking that way? It's so bad.
Well, you should be thinking that way.
I know. Yes.
You shouldn't have to think
Correct.
that way.
That's the right way to put it.
I'm glad you do as an educator, but you shouldn't have to.
Why are new schools being built that way? I feel like at this point we should be fortifying the schools more than worrying about aesthetics.
Yeah, I don't think it's even aesthetics. So the educationally, the reason why those are built that way is they have actually built it very unique. So no teacher in this school has an actual classroom assigned to them. They have offices that they go to, and very much like a college kind of setting, that kids will have, like, oh, you go to history in C32. And so that teacher just goes to C32, and then that teacher will probably go to another classroom for their next period, which makes you feel like, oh, that's a waste of time. But if your first period class has 40 kids and your second period class only has 10, then they can go to a small conference room for 10, and they could have another class use that big classroom. So with that said, and then it would be like in the middle of between these two classes, or at the end of, they'll have these huge common areas that have like modular tables and desks that can all fit together. So they could be like, all right, you 3 are working on a project. You can go out in the hall, and then the teacher can still see them through the classroom into this common area.
Right.
And so that's where they're thinking. And to be honest, like, I don't want to make new schools like prisons.
No.
I would rather say, put the middle finger to people who are going to want to be jerks and say, no, we need to continue to use like research-based education, right? And we're going to do that. And then we need to try and fight some of this guns. If somebody's going to want to kill somebody, they're going to find a way to do it. Let's just not make it as easy, right? By letting an 18-year-old have
Buy an
freaking
AR-15.
AR-15, like, yeah, like
We can make it harder.
yeah,
really,
yes, you can make it harder.
I really don't understand why this is such an issue. We make people wait till they're 21 to drink and
Correct.
To buy a
and
handgun.
smoke.
Correct.
In most states, you have to be 21.
How is this infringing on anybody's rights? 18-year-olds are dumb, man.
Yeah.
They are so stupid.
So because everybody takes it to an extreme. Because Canada is just proposing that all handguns are going to be completely illegal. So everybody goes, well, that'll be America. They're like, well,
First
let's
of all,
fight that battle when it comes.
would that be that bad? right?
I mean,
Why would that be that bad, right? They're banning handguns, and he's making magazines no larger than 5.
Yeah.
Right? It's like,
and this is where I think I will disagree. Like, I don't think having guns as a whole as a society makes it a bad society. I think that the availability makes it a problem. And so, like, I do disagree with banning them as a whole. Not that we're going to fight our government and win by any means. When that's the whole, like, and anytime anybody is like, see, it's a well-regulated militia, and you're like, no, you are not, right? The National Guard is, right?
Sure,
the
right.
Utah National Guard is that regulated
Right.
militia that you're referencing.
no, I mean, but overall, you could make the argument that more guns make a society less safe. By and large.
What type of guns?
Any gun.
I don't know that I would agree with that most. Like,
They're more
that
available.
absolute of a statement.
They're more available for suicide. They're more available for homicide. They're more available for accidents. You know what I mean?
I think. I mean, I don't want to like get into like a, how it's phrased, but is it more guns or is it the availability of those guns?
Like, are you talking about like storage laws?
Could be storage rules. It could be you have to be 21 or older and pass a certain set of to become a driver. You have to pass these certain.
Have you come across
tests
the
and
guy
things
on
like that,
TikTok
like-
who has the giant Excel sheet for all the states for like so many demographics, like everything you can think of, right?
Yeah.
But he often gets asked about guns, and he can simply just sort it by state, and you can see how the prevalence of guns lines up with more gun deaths.
Sure.
So I mean, I think it's fairly easy to say that more guns make a society less safe.
Okay.
Like if there's more, then it's less safe. So I don't, you know what I mean? Like I said, even if you just looked at suicide, right? Just look at suicide. If you can give someone just a 3 to 5 minute cool down period,
Sure.
when they either take pills or drink poison or whatever it is they're doing, right? If you don't give them time, just enough time to load a gun, they're probably going to succeed, especially if they're male, right? So it just
No, I get it, and that's where like I have a hard time having a strong stance because I'm 100% on the same page with the premise behind what you're saying because it is hard to argue against. The only argument I have against it is like, so you hear stuff like in Australia, right, with the whole gun buyback and blah blah blah. There was a spike in violent crime after that, right? It wasn't gun related, but it was violent crime. Sure. So it's like if people are going to hurt people regardless, right? Now it's just the level that they can hurt them is going to change.
No, yeah.
And I agree with, and so I'm getting both sides of that.
No, yeah, there was a guy who commented on one of my videos on TikTok that said, if you take all the guns away, then all the bad people will just have knives and cars. And I said, if you can't honestly see how that's better,
Oh, yeah.
then I don't know. This is a dumb argument. I shouldn't be talking to you.
Yeah, I agree. I
You
agree.
you can't kill. You could kill 19 kids with a knife.
Yeah.
Be a lot harder.
Yeah, no, I would just like to see people make both arguments at once, right? Because it feels like everywhere you go, you're either hearing, well, we need to restrict guns, and then on the right, they're like, well, it's not the gun, it's the person. And it's just like, what if you're both right?
Absolutely.
Right? What if we all just said, hey, let's increase mental health awareness. Let's make it basically free to go to college if you want to be a therapist or a psychologist, because at this point, it's
very
epidemic
popular.
levels.
It is very
right?
popular right now. To be fair, though, I feel like most Democrats are pro mental health and pro restricting guns.
Oh, I don't disagree with that.
You know?
Yeah.
I just, yeah.
But then all I hear, and maybe it's just who I'm listening to, but all I hear is the push for the get rid of the guns or make it harder, right? And I'm not hearing the well, here's this bill to restrict guns as well as this bill to, right? Like, listen, like there's two. It feels like I'm only hearing.
I'm pretty
it's
sure
probably out there, but I'm
pretty sure the Democrats have proposed bills for mental health, and the
Yeah.
Republicans reject it
It's disgusting.
because it's Biden. If Trump had proposed it, he probably would have passed.
Probably so.
Right.
It's just disgusting.
But I think that.
This is. I mean, let's go back.
Oh, I
back,
was going to.
back.
Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
My thought was that generally this argument ends at the Second Amendment,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Which is for a well-regulated militia. It's a semantical argument.
Yep.
And then to fight tyranny, right?
Yeah. And then
But-
then the right to bear arms shall not be infringed.
Right.
That's that last line is the one that they all
Right.
hold on to.
But you're not, like you said, you're not. I feel like the argument generally ends here. People don't continue past this point that you're not going to beat the United States military with
Yeah.
any gun.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, unless you also believe that citizens are entitled to tanks and personnel carriers and
Why aren't they?
like this. I don't know. But would you be okay? It's like these dudes in Idaho that just got arrested.
I've
There
got
are dudes who
my-
believe that you should be okay with that.
I've got my F-35 on back order.
Right.
Just
Waiting on components from
yeah.
China. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. It is hard because then Biden does this. I've heard this a lot. Right? He's just like, well, the founding fathers didn't think you should be able to own a cannon. Like, well, that's actually not true. People, the average person, could buy a cannon back then when they wrote in there that you should be able to have arms, right? Like,
But I
like
mean, I'm pretty
privateers
sure-
were a thing.
Pretty sure you can buy a cannon now, but you have
Sure.
to get a permit.
Yeah, yeah, and that's where I'm
my
at with
cannon's
it. Like,
on back order.
why is it easier for a 16-year-old to drive a car on the freeway 90-something miles an hour, right? Like we should we should make it as hard, if not harder, right, to get a gun than it is to I think the idea behind like a driver's license is very much I'd like to see it move in that direction.
Sure,
right?
I
like
agree.
if you want to have a gun, that's fine. You have to check off A, B, C, and D.
It would be
and
a
this
step.
age. Yes, yes.
My father-in-law
I would love
owns
to see that
owns a
direction.
gun shop. Right, it's a pawn shop. They do
Yeah.
rentals and he sells guns. You know, and they won't sell to anyone without a background check.
Good.
You know,
Good.
I'm like, awesome. That
Yeah.
should be a law.
Yep. Yeah. Sure.
know?
Yeah.
But
Well-
the thing I haven't heard yet from people who are opposed to gun control, typically on the right, is what they believe the actual reason is for the mass shootings in America. Why are they so much more? Do they think that Americans are just more mentally ill generally? I haven't heard that
Good point.
a reason for that, right? Because you
Mm-hmm.
can't argue with the stats. We've had 262 mass shootings. No one else comes close, even per capita.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not even like Iraq.
Sure.
You know, so what's the reasoning behind that? I have yet. Spencer, have you heard an argument as to why?
Video games and Eminem.
But I mean, Eminem is a platinum artist worldwide.
No.
and video games are also.
It's
Yeah.
all about rap and video games.
Here's an argument that I have heard, and I think that there's some validity to it. And I haven't actually followed up on this specific kid from Texas, but it had said so he had just killed his grandma, right? Where's mom and dad?
It's a good question. I couldn't figure that out.
So
I feel like there's so much information we don't have.
sure, exactly.
Was he
So-
living with grandma?
I don't know. And if he was, what kind of trauma has this kid been through with the fact that he's so far gone that he's going to kill grandma when mom and dad aren't in the picture, right? So the argument being from the right is the moving away from kind of a core family of like the value that is behind, and I won't even say gender. 2-parent solid household and the value behind that I think there's a good point
There
there
are
to have a
divorces
conversation.
in other countries.
Sure,
too.
I'm not saying that, but I think that we're actually higher than everywhere else.
And sometimes,
worth looking up.
sometimes
Yeah.
suicide bombers blow themselves up, and then the kids don't have dads too.
Sure, sure. Get a little dark.
I'm trying to quickly
But
see.
Oh, it was such a light topic to begin
yeah,
with.
yeah.
So
Well,
she's actually alive still. She can't talk.
Oh, really?
Grandma.
Oh, I didn't
Okay.
know that.
Uh,
Man, why? I feel like we're missing. Like,
there's
the-
a lot we're missing.
yes.
A lot.
Well, it feels like a lot of people who made a lot of mistakes don't want to say anything.
Right.
And that's one of the things. But that to me is, and I think that there's a very good conversation here. And regardless of religious and regardless of even political leanings that I may have, I don't even care about having a conversation of a good mom and a good dad. I just think the value that we placing as a society value on raising kids as a community in a household that has 2 strong parents. Because I'll tell you, as sometimes feeling like a single dad with a wife who just started a business, right? I am maxed out emotionally and mentally. If I couldn't imagine raising my grandkids after having raised my kids, and like, are they getting any good, solid teaching and intervention at home? And I think that there's an argument or conversation to be had there. But is that the reason? I don't know. Is it a reason? I think yes.
I think that. I mean, it's worth looking into.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that he was living with grandma because
Yes, I believe so.
it was a neighbor who said he got in an argument with grandma and shot her in the jaw. Let's see. Ramos also faulted the boy's mother. What is this? School shooter's dad blames his mom. Blames his ex-wife.
See, there you go.
Father.
Everyone's blaming everybody.
Everybody's blaming everybody because nobody took responsibility for this kid to raise this kid. Because I genuinely, why?
Because kids ruin everything.
Kids circle back to the.
So his dad was on the Daily Beast and said, "I just want the people to know I'm sorry for what my son did.
I heard that one.
He should have just killed me instead of doing things that he did to someone else." His son also called his name's Salvador, right? Shot his grandmother in the face, drove away with her car before running the truck into a ditch.
And then the story from there. Because I'll tell you, as an educator for the last 6 years and interacting with a lot of parents, there is a lot of conversations had daily about who's to blame for their kids' behavior, and almost never do the parents take it. They always, it has been exhausting to just sit there and go, oh, I'm the only one who cares about your kid's education here, right? Because it's two parents are yelling about each other, or they're saying that the school system failed them. They're like, well, they don't come to class. How could the school system have failed them if they've slept 20 out of the 22 periods for this class period? And so I just think that there's something there to that conversation anyway.
Yeah.
And if dad's blaming mom,
Ramos also
how much more
faulted
do
the
you want
boy's
than
mother.
that?
I don't know. I mean, listen, this guy just went through something traumatic. He probably shouldn't be
Sure.
talking in the Daily Beast, but
Sure.
it does say he blamed his mother for not buying him more school supplies and clothes. Said his son was bullied at school for wearing the same high-water jeans every day, and that this was the reason he ultimately dropped out. He confirmed that he had been bullied in his other students. He had been bullied in middle school for a speech impediment. Former coworkers and others said they knew he had an aggressive streak, and his internet history pointed to someone all too happy, boasting about guns and mass bloodshed. I still can't find out whether or not he was living
that's
there.
fine. Well, anyway, that's the only argument I've heard from the other side, and I think there's something there. So
It's worth looking into.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you can look into stats for divorce and just
Single-parent
aggression,
households or- yeah.
aggression in general.
yeah,
But it's nice to know what teachers are doing in Utah.
yeah.
I mean, obviously, I know that teachers care.
Sure.
Obviously, more than the police.
Most
but-
teachers
Feels
are
that
actually
way.
in it for the money.
100%.
From what I
fame.
hear.
I get a little fame
Yeah,
and notoriety.
of course.
Yeah.
Well, if you're in the Davis County School District, then you're probably going to get on the news at some point
Yeah,
for
that's
some
probably
reason.
true. And for the record, to everybody listening, that's what I'm in.
We got some more topics. Let's take a break, though, and we can talk about them. when we
Okay,
come
cool.
back.
When we come back, that didn't work. It was supposed to. When we come back, I don't know. I've got random headlines somewhere, and looks like we got something about Louis Gohmert.
Oh, yeah.
What an idiot. Anyway, all that and, well, maybe more. I don't know.
There's no way to know who we can trust.
So what do we do now?
There's only one thing we can do. We have to get guns. Guns? It's the only way for us to be safe.
Kyle, even if we thought it could help protect us, how are we all gonna get our hands on guns? Alright, cool, we got guns. So now what?
Maybe if it's gonna make a mistake. I already feel a lot safer.
This is the Our Take Podcast. We interrupt your regularly scheduled program to bring you these random headlines.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. Hey, by the way, you can find us at the Arctic Pod on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. I did try and figure out how to go live, and I had to message TikTok because the button's not showing up.
What did they say?
Nothing yet. So, like, I can go live on my phone, but I want to go live from our setup here so we can all be on, right?
Right.
That's not working on my computer. So
I've seen people go. Well,
I know you can. There's a bunch of like tutorials, but there's clearly a button not showing up on our profile that should be.
Huh.
So message away. Maybe we'll go live at some point.
Maybe. All right. Found some random headlines here, waiting for my internet to pull up. A giant dog wandered into a Dollar General store in Florida.
Everything happens in Florida.
Yeah.
Even especially giant dogs.
Looks like Beethoven.
I thought it was a Great Dane. Let's see here.
That'd be bigger.
The Bradenton Police Department said the giant dog, 135-pound canine.
Holy crap.
It's a big dog.
Oh, it is a Beethoven.
That is a big dog.
Hey, look, the police actually went in. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Too soon.
at least they didn't go in shooting.
Oh,
God,
yeah.
jeez. This dog wandered into the Dollar General store, and employees initially decided to let the animal go about his business as he wasn't disturbing any merchandise or other customers. The employees called the police at closing time because the dog had been inside the store for several hours and was showing no signs of leaving. Police shared body camera footage on Facebook.
Wow, that's the fastest they've ever released it.
They didn't turn it off?
Yeah. Oh,
It fell off of me.
Yeah. Let's see. The department said the police were able to identify the dog as a canine named Bentley and reunited the pet with his owner. Bentley's dad realized
Did that
he
just
was
say
missing
they identified the dog as a canine?
a canine named Bentley.
Doesn't that implied when you say dog?
Yeah.
Okay, there's not a difference between a dog and a canine, right?
Not that I know of.
I don't know.
I mean,
sadly, they had to euthanize the dog.
that's well. Have you worked retail before?
Yeah.
You've worked retail. You've worked retail before.
Yeah.
Who would let a dog just wander in a store for hours?
There's a lot of people afraid of dogs out there.
Well, 135 pounds.
When I was
giant.
working at
Right.
Smith's, I had a dog come in the store a couple times.
For hours?
No,
Yeah, exactly.
we'd shoo him out, but
I mean, you had to get rid of the blind guy first.
we'd shoo him out, and then we look around the corner, and there's, have you seen my dog? I'm like, oh.
Give me your cane.
You're out of here, too.
Is that a weapon?
It's unruly. That's ridiculous.
So, yeah, be on the watch for canine dogs.
That is kind of weird that they let it just
35
wander. Have so many videos of Amazon delivery people scared of dogs.
Yeah, a
A lot of people are scared of dogs. Like
It's irrational.
I don't know. Growing up, I had a couple friends that were full on mauled by dogs. Different friends.
Wow.
They're kind of weird about dogs.
Quinn has a friend she's 8 years old now, but she was mauled when she was like 2.
Yeah, it can happen. It's scary. Well, my wife, who's a vet, she'll say all the time, she's like, pit bulls are not the thing she's most scared about to go treat. Chihuahuas, little.
Oh, yeah, they
little,
just
man.
She's been bitten by those. More
get a
than
hold of
any
your
other
finger.
animal.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen this.
Got the chihuahua on your finger. A show at the newly opened Avengers campus at Disney California Venture was out of commission for a few hours when a web-slinging robotic Spider-Man went off course and crashed.
Who says Spider-Man?
Spider-Man, it's his name.
Oh, okay. Spider-Man the Spider-Man.
David Spider-Man.
Okay.
Visitors to the attraction captured video Thursday when the web slingers, a Spider-Man adventure show, ended prematurely because of I don't know.
Oh, is this it right here? Is this?
Yeah, you're looking at the same thing.
I've seen a lot of videos of this because he looks so real.
Yeah, and he's like, save me, or something like that.
Are you playing something?
Yeah. I want to see. Is this the actual crash?
Yeah. He just hammers the building.
Oh,
What is this building made of?
apparently cardboard.
I think it's all a prop. I don't think it's like a legit
Okay.
building. It's like a display that they do.
It's a facade,
Yes,
if you will.
Yes.
A facade. So, I mean, have you ever seen the actual videos?
You
of
know
this
why
working?
that's so
It does
funny?
look like a real person.
It's so
Yeah.
funny because it looks like a real person.
yeah.
But you can laugh because it's not.
This is not, yeah. Except for the little kids there who are like, Spider-Man's their hero. Like,
Yeah.
Spider-Man's dead!
Time to go home, kids.
Also, if we can build human-sized Spider-Man robots, why do we still have soldiers? Why don't we just send Spider-Man over to fight in Ukraine?
Because our American government doesn't truly care about human lives.
That's absolutely true.
Spider-Men are much more expensive than...
Honestly, probably so. It's a lot cheaper for them to say they'll pay for college for people in poor communities than it is to build animatronic soldiers.
And this
Is that too deep, too fast? Is that a little?
This is
too real?
a film studio. You
Yeah.
know, they don't work for the government.
Oh, okay.
They'll hold on to these secrets.
A Disneyland representative said repairs were made and the show resumed later in the afternoon.
Wow.
A video tweeted by the Disneyland News Today blog shows a Spider-Man robot swinging to the top of the building as intended after being repaired. However, the robot was euthanized and was replaced
Replaced by a dog.
Yeah. No, a canine dog.
Canine dog. A dog that they later found out was a canine.
A canine named Bentley. All the
wording.
stories tied in together here.
That's weird. I'm still weirded out by that.
From now on, every story we talk about for the rest of this has to be at the ending with a euthanasia. And it was put down. Let's go back to the Michael Lee.
An Indiana man. An Indiana man who noticed some unusual lumps in a catfish, reeled in by his friend, said he was cleaning the catch at home when he discovered the contents of its stomach included a phallic adult toy.
It's blurred. Hang on, let me.
I just saw the headline. I can't handle it.
Richard Kazar, I'm guessing that's how you say that, said he and his friend John Hoop Richard and Hoop went fishing on his boat in the Lawrenceburg area when Hoop reeled in his first ever blue catfish. We noticed when we got it in the boat that its stomach was huge because it swallows.
Well, I'm
they had to euthanize it.
They had to euthanize it. Yeah. Well, Richard doesn't go by Dick, unfortunately. Or even better.
Kessler said he initially thought the fish may have swallowed some eggs or smaller creatures, but he later pushed on the catfish's belly and felt two hard objects that did not feel like normal fish food.
Unreal.
Kessler said he and Hoop took the fish back to his house for cleaning. Who eats catfish? We decided to cut it open, and we found the foam ball part of the fish and the other object.
What, the foam ball?
It was two objects. One was
just
ball.
a foam
It
ball.
was probably a
was-
ball gag. For
Right, yeah.
That's better than the joke I was going to say. That's you win.
The other object was a phallic sex toy. Can we just call it a dildo?
yeah, why
a
not? Yeah.
phallic
Why did
sex
they-
toy? A phallic a
dildo used for sex.
A flaccid sex toy.
I love how they blur it on these
The
websites.
pictures,
He
yeah.
posted photos of the fish's unusual snack. I have no idea how or why it ended in the river. Kessler said his 3-year-old daughter was helping clean the fish,
Oh, no.
and he and his wife had to quickly avert her gaze.
The fish.
Whenever she's like, oh, whoa.
Turns out the fish knew it was going to die from this, so it just grabbed onto the first hook it saw. Like, I don't think I was supposed to swallow that
Put me out of my
dildo.
misery.
I don't think that was a real phallus.
When it came out, John.
John. Who's John? Wait, where
When
did
it
John
came
come
out,
from?
John, my wife and I started laughing. My wife immediately covered my daughter's eyes and turned her away from it, which is also what happened when Hoop came out.
So Richard
Come on,
is
that was
married to
his-
John,
No.
the wife. When it came out,
Oh, is
John.
it Joan or John? John?
It's J-O-N.
J-O-N's John, right?
It is John.
So Dick and John
When
found a phallic penis
When it came out,
in
John,
a fish.
A phallic-shaped penis.
Phallic shape. Yeah, however they said it. Holy crap.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a weird-
Unfortunately, the fish had to be euthanized. And so did the phallic sex
So-
toy.
yeah.
Some latex or vinyl poisoning.
Also, at Bert's Bait Shop, they have a new line to catch the bluegill catfish. I think you can imagine what they're.
It's a new master bait line.
Yeah,
Oh, jeez.
that was
It was rich.
yeah. No, it was Hoop and Rich.
That's right.
And John.
And John.
Is that it?
That's it.
That's it for random headlines.
Yeah.
Good end.
All right,
Unless you want to get the mystery machine from Scooby Doo, which is listed on Airbnb. So I don't know.
No, let's listen to Louis
Oh,
Gohmert
jeez.
make a ass out of himself.
That shouldn't be too hard.
Let's make sure volume is working here. Bluetooth. Maybe. Okay, here we go.
If you're a Republican, you can't even lie to Congress or lie to an FBI agent, or they're coming after you. They're going to bury you. They're going to put you in the D.C. jail and terrorize and torture you.
Okay.
So this is Louis Gohmert saying how nowadays you can't lie to the FBI
Or to Congress.
Or to Congress. What the hell? Back in my day.
Isn't it weird how some representatives you just hear about over and over again?
Well, it's because they're really, really, really stupid.
It's amazing.
There's so many representatives that fly under the radar that,
Term limits.
that don't do anything. And then there's Marjorie Taylor Greene and Louis Gohmert, who are some of the stupidest people in America.
Like, if this was my representative and he was a Democrat,
Yeah.
I'd be like, I can't vote for that
Well,
guy.
it makes it so much harder. As a person who typically leans Republican in voting, I just see some of the stuff. I'm like, why? Why do you have to have an R next to your name? Please, like, you don't represent me. Now, with that said, I am not defending this guy. He
With
totally
that
made
said,
an ass
I
of
will
himself.
be voting for
Yeah,
Louis Gohmert
I can't
next
wait
year.
till Trump is on the next ticket.
Because forest fire. What? Oh no, he wanted. What did he? He wanted to move the. He wants to move the rotation of the moon or something.
Oh,
doesn't he?
Louis, that's right.
Yeah.
Can't we
What
put
did
some?
he say?
Can't we put some rockets on there? And
Yeah. He
just
wants
move
to
it out a
change
little
the
bit?
orbit of the moon to help with the forest fires.
I
And
mean, in theory, sir.
Jewish space lasers and.
There's a little bit of context needed here. I don't know if
There
you're
was
planning
not on
talk-
that. There was
but-
not any context.
in all, but when with what he was talking about was in reference to a Democrat or somebody who's a representative who's more Democratic leaning, who they think got off on a lot of lies. And so what he's saying is Republican can't lie. And I'm like, your point is way lost in the stupidity of what you said, right? That's I mean, yeah, because when you guys sent this and I listened to it and I was like, no freaking way. Like there's got to be more, and there is, but it doesn't help that much.
Right.
So there are a few lingering issues of intolerance.
So I just found this. I'm curious.
But there's one bright spot out there, and that's gay rights. In just a few short years, we've seen legalized same-sex marriage, the end of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and the mainstream acceptance of brunch. But
This is like Steven's first couple shows
not
here.
everyone has been won over. Take Texas Congressman and soft-boiled egg Louis Gohmert. Recently, on the floor of Congress, Gohmert tackled the pressing issue of gays in space.
2016.
Yeah.
You're wanting to save humankind for posterity. Basically, a modern day Noah. Okay, we've got a spaceship that can go, as Matt Damon did in the movie, plant a colony somewhere. If you could decide what 40 people you put on the spacecraft that would save humanity, how many of those would be same-sex couples?
Oh, I know that one.
Why is he allowed to talk?
That's unreal.
Why there's so many space things with him?
Yeah, he's really into space.
He must be kind of like a nerd.
I don't think he represents Houston.
do not let him watch the new Star Treks because they are chock full of gay people. I don't
Right.
know.
So was The Expanse.
Yeah.
In the books, anyway. I haven't watched
Yeah.
the series yet.
Well, that's actually interesting because it's like people talk, this is a stupid thing. What he said is stupid. But then it feels like there's not a whole lot of people that talk about the stupid stuff that Biden says. Did you hear him on Jimmy Kimmel this last week?
Mm-mm.
He was like, when was the last time you saw a same-sex or a biracial couple on TV? And I was like, every freaking day? Like, when is the last
No.
time this guy watched TV?
Probably
Like,
not very often.
Yeah,
I don't think he watches as much as
he's
Trump
so
did.
out of
Says,
he's
"I
so
love
out
Lucy."
of
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
I hope he
Funny
doesn't
Louis Gohmert
run.
stuff.
What
on
an
here.
idiot, man. It's the gay people in space. Get out of here.
Here's another idiot Republican. Ryan Kelly, a Republican running for governor in Michigan, who was at the Capitol during the January 6th attack, was arrested at his home in Allendale, Michigan on Thursday morning,
As he
according
should have
to
been.
a special agent with the FBI. FBI agent described Mr. Kelly's actions in a filing to court, saying at one point Mr. Kelly appeared to use his phone to film the crowd assaulting and pushing past U.S. Capitol Police. He also used his hands to support another rioter, was pulling down a metal barricade, and that he gestured to the crowd, consistently indicating that it should continue moving forward to the entrance of the Capitol. This is where the story gets good, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Kelly was able to be identified in part because what he wore on January 6th was similar to the outfit he wore at the American Patriot Council Judgment Day rally in Lansing, Michigan in May 2020. And here's what he was wearing.
What the heck? What is that guy doing down there?
Is a hat really close to his groin? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, what's going on there?
Right here. So,
is
this-
that why he's all excited?
Oh yeah!
Finally.
Oh jeez.
Yeah,
what is he wearing? Hat backwards, sunglasses.
So had he worn a different outfit to the Judgment Day rally, he might not have been caught.
Well, you got to have a riot, outfit
Right.
that you wear to all
Consistent.
your riots. And
Honey, we get my riot outfit. I got plans this
So
weekend.
he was charged with several misdemeanors.
did you guys watch the Thursday primetime not for TV event?
Oh, it's
Actually,
totally
it
for
was
TV. Absolutely. I love it. I didn't watch the whole thing, no. But it's just
Talking
going
the January 6th stuff.
It's just
Yeah.
going to keep getting better too.
My favorite part was when they were interviewing Proud Boys or people, former Proud Boys or whatever, that were talking about why they did it. And they said things like, well, Donald Trump had just done so much for us. And he asked us to come. And that, he did so much for us, so that's the least we could do for him. Like, what did he cure your cancer? What did he do for you? What are you talking about?
You think they
did he
wouldn't-
come and personally pay off your mortgage? Like, what happened?
He banned your bump stock. Tell you that.
Really, what has any president really done for anybody in the last?
That's usually my argument when it comes to presidents. Is like, how much did Donald Trump truly impact my life on the day-to-day basis? Not that much.
These local politics
Yeah.
are so much more important.
And they get significantly less turnout.
Right.
That's what I was going to say about the last guy. It's a perfect, when we say how do these clowns keep getting elected? It's a perfect example about why it's so important to get more people involved, because the average person doesn't care. If it doesn't impact what's going on, like what they could talk about at their dinner table, they don't care.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's usually the president has a giant policy
Yep.
agenda, whether
Yep.
or not it goes into effect
Correct.
at all.
It's frustrating.
Missouri Court of Appeals is ordering an insurance juggernaut, Geico, to pay a woman $5.2 million in damages after being infected with HPV during intimate activities that took place in an insured person's vehicle. The woman initiated a claim with Geico in February 2021 after learning that she'd contracted the sexually transmitted infection from a partner who knew but did not disclose his status. Since the incident in question happened in her partner's car, she argued that his liability insurance was responsible for damages.
No way.
A settlement was reportedly offered to Geico, whose lawyers declined. The woman's partner was found liable, and the arbitrator approved an award of $5.2 million in damages to be paid by the insurer, despite requests by Geico for a new hearing.
Wait, how does that? I mean,
She had sex in a car.
no, I understand all that, but does your homeowner's insurance cover that if it happens in your house?
I would say this sets a precedent.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. There's precedence there.
Who's got HPV?
They won't tell you. You
Usually
can't know.
the-
You can't know.
I just want to see if I can sue somebody's homeowner. Is it for $5.2 million?
Yeah, but you can't know they have HPV. Otherwise,
Oh, that's right.
you're responsible.
Yeah.
So I just need to hook up with his.
This sounds like a scam. This just sounds like a
It
setup.
does, yeah. That's a weird. That's
Isn't that
so
funny?
weird. It's so weird, man. Ridiculous.
Oh man. Well, that's all I had for stupid things.
stupid things.
New segment.
Oh,
Stupid
I don't
things.
have any sounders for it.
That's all right. Jake, you got anything else you want to talk about?
I think we've talked a lot.
We have.
I really don't think.
Well, it's been fun.
It has been fun. Thanks for having me
That was
back.
quick.
Fourth time.
That was quick. We've been here for.
Well, the second half was quick.
Oh yeah, second half
you
was
know,
quick.
It's usually quick.
That's what she said.
We can start taking breaks earlier if you want.
No, I don't care. I've got a rumble in my gumble anyway, and something's about to go down.
Well, if you have any funny T-shirt ideas of colloquial phrases that are used wrong,
Yeah, you gotta find.
like a bowl in a China shop.
I've never heard that.
I just made it up. That's
Oh,
why.
okay.
That's, yeah.
You've never heard
Yeah.
of bowl in a China shop?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Mythbusters took on that myth and proved it to be completely
It's
false.
true.
They let a bull loose in a china shop and did not break a single dish.
Yeah.
That's a dumb myth.
Multiple
very
bulls.
careful.
However, then they let something else in and it just destroyed it. It was like-
Toddler.
A female cow. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. We'll get you back for a fifth time, get you that robe.
Let's do it.
Thanks for being here, everybody. You can find us at the Arctic Pod on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, or thearcticpodcast.com. Show is produced by Spencer, directed by Spencer, and recorded by Spencer.
You know, when I said we'd do that, I was joking.
Oh, I'm serious, though. Now I'm doing it.
Oh, all right.
So, for episode 128, I'm Brian.
I'm Spencer. See you next time.